Okay, welcome. Welcome to the last panel of day one of Comic Art Live. Thank you for joining us, the 9th Comic Art Live. And one of the things that we do with these live panels, and we try to introduce you to new people, interesting people, have direct art sales, have artists on. This one's pretty special. This one's covering Marvel cards and specifically Marvel sketch cards and their history. And we have what I could only call a distinguished all-star panel of badasses. Let me bring them in one by one. Mr. Jose Caballero, Stephen Walbroehl, and Mr. Matt Fuller. Guys, thank you for coming on the day before Mother's Day and all of that garbage on the Saturday. Thank you for coming in from Netherlands. Matt, I'm very sorry that you are sleep deprived, and we will hold it against you, but the easiest place to start is, could you guys just say a few words, say who you are, all that, so these guys understand how lucky we are to have the three of you on today.
So I'll go first. Hey everyone, I'm Jose. I call my collection the Marvel Card Archive, and this is my signature headset, so you can hear me clearly. I get my proverbial, busted quite a bit for it, but I don't care. I collect everything Marvel cards, and over the years that's evolved to go into sketch cards, and of course, original art used for the trading cards. So that's my bag, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show. But thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I'm Stephen Walbroehl, and thanks, Kasra, again for having us here. So I do a few things. Among collecting art and cards is I have a few pieces behind me. Really into Marvel cards, Magic as well. Magic: The Gathering is like one of my favorite trading card games ever, and the art for that is beautiful too. But my background, besides being a big geek for all this stuff that we're talking about here today, I own a cybersecurity company called Halborn. So I have a team of 200 people that like to hack things and break things and then help people fix it. And I also play music. So I have a band called Dead Code. And my collection of art and everything I do is called Lakeview Collection. So thanks for having us again here.
Wow.
No one cares about image cards. No one cares about DC cards. Marcus, keep flailing. No one cares about dynamite cards either.
Dang.
One can only have
cold-blooded.
Marcus is the funniest guy in the community, so you got to respond to him. I want him to do more. So Matt, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm OCDMarvelSketchCards. I'm Matt. My sketch card collection is called Brenda, and like Gronk said at the Brady roast, me like sketch cards.
Actually, Garbage Pail Kids. From what I remember, Stephen, you have some Garbage Pail Kids, yeah?
Yes, I do. I have a full set of like the OS1 from 1985, with Atom Bomb on there, uncut sheets. No art from that though, and I think apparently the same guy does the art for every single card.
Yeah.
So what a prolific person. But yeah, I like Garbage Pail Kids too.
Yeah, they just pay him in drugs, and then they just say, do the next set. It's easier than Marvel Masterpieces. So, all right, West Coast Avengers, nice to see you, buddy. So you might recognize Stephen and Jose from OAX 2024. We started talking to one another last September, October. They were responsible for that magnificent gallery, mostly of Marvel Masterpieces. And Matt, of course, was there, and they had these guys had a booth on the main show floor, and I think that they stuck you there for a lot of it, if I remember right.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Well, nobody knows sketch cards better than that. Also,
no, sir. Yeah, I've been watching Matt for like the last 8 months on his own channel, OCD Marvel Sketch Cards and a Sketch Card Hive with Fausto, and you're a frightening man. I say that with a lot of respect. And Jose and Stephen have agreed basically to be co-showrunners with Bill and I on the card component of OAX, which is something that we want to build out. Well, we want to have fun with it for sure, but there's a lot of fun, interesting opportunities there. There's a lot of crossover in that realm too. And I just couldn't think of anyone better. I actually love these two guys. I'll say it on live camera. I love them. There you go. There you go.
Now you can't cover us anymore. Now you can't cover us anymore when you do that.
I couldn't even fit through that heart, Stephen. And the good news is, and hopefully we're going to be embarrassing Mr. Jetlag over there, but he's joining the team as well. Matt was a big contributor to the card art component of OAX, our inaugural year. I didn't get to work with him directly, but these two are smart enough that they did. And for 2025 and on, between now and 2025 and thereafter, God willing, Matt is an integral part of the team and the expert, know-it-all, do not question me, bottom line dude on sketch cards. If you guys knew what this guy knew, if you knew what his sketch collection was like, you would absolutely freak out. It's extraordinary. So Matt, thank you. We're going to come up with like a fancy title that you hate, I think, at some point, right? But this is the team right here, and look for really good things and good announcements over the next many months related to that. All that being said, I think we were expecting one more person, but he's like a prima donna with a sultry voice, so I guess he might not show up. But if he does, we'll introduce him as well. But we do, before we move on to the real main subject of this Marvel sketch cards, their history, we have an announcement for OAX 2025 as far as an artist. And Matt, if you would do the honors, please. We have a special guest who wants to come in.
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited about this guy. He has been around almost since the very beginning of sketch cards. Not just Marvel sketch cards, but back in the Topps Lord of the Rings days. He is the terror from the Great White North, Dolly Parton aficionado, everyone's favorite, Mr. Tony Berna.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Golf clap. Hi, Tony.
Thank you.
I think he just called you an old guy. I thought I heard that.
Dolly Parton, though, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I can agree. You ever go to Dolly Parton or Dollyland?
No, it's on my list.
Yeah.
Tony, if I remember right, you started doing sketch cards somewhere around the mid 2000s, 2005, 6, 7, something like that.
Unofficially 2002. My first license set was 2006 for Rittenhouse Archives. Yeah, for Complete Avengers, 1963 to present. Yeah, I am an old guy. Jeez, thanks, Matt.
We've got to stick together.
We'll find out in this presentation. But when were the first sketch card inserts? What year was that? Is this question
93.
number one?
93.
93. So,
yeah, I didn't know that.
It's that far back. Okay. Who was that guy who decided to do that? That wasn't Bob.
You're going to learn. You're going to learn on this presentation, Mr. Ghanbari.
Super lead-ins here. So now this is the last panel of the day. It's supposed to run from 6 to sometime just before 7. No one really cares about that. We're just going to talk. There's a lot of information. These guys are phenomenal with this. Jose and Matt are going to walk us through. They put a lot of time into making a presentation. And unless there's something you guys want to talk about right away, I think we should just dive in.
Yeah, and we're also previewing. We're gonna do a break of something that has a sketch card in it too. So unrevealed art. We'll do that because streaming these box openings seems to be quite a hit, and I've been on a lucky streak recently, so I figure to keep it going.
Super lucky. Never mind lucky streak.
Yeah, and we'll do some, and I think we have 3 or 4 sketch card giveaways throughout the presentation. So if you're watching live, we'll give away some sketch cards too. But I think this will be a little different than a lot of the panels and other live Marvel stuff you see because it's a formal presentation. We wanted it to be like educational and well researched. We didn't want to come out here and just like give opinion, but we wanted to give some like really concrete stuff. So we hope you enjoy it. And honestly, no questions taboo. Please go to the live chat and if you got something you want to comment on or ask a question, please do. Like, I'm watching the chat. I'm happy to respond to anything, because sketch cards can get controversial at times. So please put it in the chat. Okay.
Well, okay, yeah, and I'll monitor the chat too, and of course, everyone butt in and ask your questions, and you can bet that I will be as well, because I'm in the Dunning-Kruger kind of phase where I have a dangerous amount of knowledge, and I'm a total idiot still about this. So let me bring up the presentation, and hopefully this will work.
Actually, will I share? I think I'll share my screen, right, Kasra?
Please, please try that first. Yeah.
All right.
That way you can manage the StreamYard giveaway.
And I see Ash Gonzalez here. He's a great sketch artist too, and I have a couple of his in front of me right now. So we have some people in the audience. There he is. This is an Ash one right here.
Cosmic Spidey, very cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Hey, Kasra, can you see the share yet?
I see two entries for your presentation, one with a bunch of type on the right side and one without. Do you want the one without? Let's just go with that.
And I'm watching the YouTube on my phone, so I'll be able to confirm if I see it.
Yep, that's the one.
All right. All right, so look, the history of Marvel sketch cards. I got a lot of comments before this one. I was like, hey, Jose, what are you talking about? Everybody knows Marvel sketch cards started in 1997, and that is true. But I think to appreciate that, we have to understand where sketch cards in general started. Matt and I will be leading the charge on this slide deck. Look, the announcements we already did, which was that Matt and Tony are going to be part of this call, and Matt a big part of OEX. Tony, our first official quote-unquote sketch artist, but he's an amazing artist in general. We'll talk about our collections, talk about collecting sketch cards, and then we talked about doing giveaways, etc. throughout. So look, Tony is the official, our first major guest. Again, of course, Tony is a general artist, but his sketch cards, we particularly know him for those, and he's been gracious enough to offer to kick things off one of these 8 sketch cards he's gonna fully finish in his amazing inks. So this is just like a prelim for the final version. Tony didn't want to go all out and finish it before the person picked the card, so we wanted to give options. So a lot of amazing characters here. This is first prize, so we're gonna do a quick giveaway to kick things off, and again, the winner will get their choice completely fully inked by Tony. So what's the code we want to use, Kasra or Matt?
So it'll have to be Kasra, because I can't do it from, like I said, from this iPad.
Yeah, and I got a link and it didn't open up to anything, so I really don't know how to do the giveaway at this point in the.
So the link, if you follow the link, it should open a browser page, or if not, paste it into a browser page. And then if that doesn't work, we'll have to figure it out, hopefully.
Yeah, we might have to do it. We might have to do it later in the.
We'll come back to it, Kasra. Just stop me when you and Matt got that one, and we'll come back. But essentially, we'll give away one of these 8. All right. So look, I said we talk a lot about more about our collections. Matt's got over 15,000 sketch cards in his collection, right? That's just a boatload. Over 9,000 of those are Marvel specifically, and he loves particular scenes from the Bronze Age. So again, like you can hear like in this language that Matt is a comic book fan, of course, right?
Yep.
And that has led him to his cards. Matt, sorry, I'll stop there and let you continue on that.
No, that's it. I mean, I grew up and cut my teeth in the 80s on the comics, and cards of that era, specifically the Rittenhouse Bronze Age set that really capture that nostalgia, are really what I focus on. And even back to some of my early Lord of the Rings, I always prefer cards that show something happening, like a scene, versus just a straight up portrait.
Wonderful.
And Matt, you're a character collector.
I'm not sure if you can do that little hide button just to get rid of that little thing on the bottom.
Oh, sorry about that.
Guys, I think we can do the giveaway now if you want to go back and get.
All right, we'll come back. We'll do that right now. You ready? I think hashtag Tony or something like that.
Can I participate? That Thanos looks awesome.
Hashtag Dolly.
Dolly. DL.
So it is hashtag TONY.
Nice.
Okay, Tony. All right. So
I was gonna do hashtag Marcus, but it's just too difficult.
So it looks like the options are, what do we got? Black Panther, Magneto, Iron Man, Doom, Rogue, Goblin, Thanos, and Phoenix.
And for those of you not familiar with Tony's art, we'll show some examples throughout this presentation, but I guarantee you'll be very happy with the result. Promise.
Oh yeah, that's very misleading pencils right there.
Yeah, it's just the beginning. That's like if you're baking a cake, that's like just cracking an egg. That's where
a prelim sketch.
Yeah.
So we're up to about 30. We'll give everyone just a few more seconds.
Dave, spell it right.
Marcus is going for 3 entries in one with the Tony. Marcus does it again. So do I remember right, Tony, that you're going to be inking these? Did I hear that right before? Because I got preoccupied with how screwed up the giveaway was.
Yeah, I'll do the inks, the details in it, all the line reading. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I think Rich Donnelly is now entered twice, so I think we're starting to exhaust everyone having time to enter.
Yeah.
So can I go ahead and draw?
Do it.
Yep. You might have to get rid of Jose's presentation for a second in order to show the screen so people can see it happen.
I got it.
So the option to bring up this tab and show it off here is not coming up. Let me do the present share screen.
Yeah, that's where I do it. Yeah.
Awesome. There it is.
We're on.
I want to enter so bad. Damn it.
All right. Sheldon Walsh got in there right at the end. Okay, so we do the draw.
Good luck, everybody.
So this is your first time doing this, right, Kasra?
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, this is yeah. It's,
nice.
hey,
Nice.
good stuff.
I'm trying to decode 111882 and nothing's coming up in my brain.
It's his birthday, of course, November 18th, 82.
Or maybe it's January 11th, 882. He's a vampire.
Oh man, that's great.
That's awesome. Congrats. And let me bring this back.
Which one do you want?
Yeah.
So reach out to Tony. Actually, you could pick the character in chat if you want, but just reach out to Tony. What's the best way to reach you, Tony?
Instagram.
Post up your Instagram handle here so I can message you. I can do it here.
Can I join the chat? I have to go to YouTube. It's hashtag perna.t.
Please follow.
Yes, please follow.
There you go. I put it up for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Kasra, I'm back. I'm ready. I'm back where we left off.
Yes, please.
Yep, it's on the screen.
Sweet. All right. Matt, you want to talk about character collecting? I think there's a lot of comic art collectors out there that also do character collecting.
Sure. And one of our friends, Norin Rad, has been doing a whole bunch of YouTube videos on this, and we're actually going to be talking about it at a table at HeroesCon in June. A little plug there. But character collecting is really, these days, is probably the most cost-effective way to collect. You know, when you get a set like Platinum that has thousands of cards with all the variants, focusing just on a character or characters you like and collecting cards across different sets and even variants within sets is really becoming a much more popular way to collect again, just because it's, you know, it makes sure you're focusing on what you love. It's going to save you a ton of money. And it really just helps. It's a really basic way to curate a really nice collection.
Unless you're
focusing-
collecting Spider-Man or Wolverine, then it can get very expensive.
Yeah, if those are your characters, Godspeed.
Matt.
Yeah.
Is it just sketch cards and card related images of Danny that you collect, or do you go outside of that and collect other artwork?
So I collect original art as well. I do have some figures. They were mostly as a byproduct of collecting cards that came with the figures. But I have tried to stay in my card focused lane.
And Matt, don't you? I think you collect or try to collect like one of every character too. So at least have one in your collection.
I have been pulling away from that. Yes. At one point, I had almost 1,500 different characters represented on sketch cards, and I think that's why character collecting has more appeal for me, because when you really go broad, sometimes it takes the fun out of collecting and it becomes more of a job just to check a box.
Yeah.
So
I remember like I pulled an iBoy, which is like an obscure character, and I was like, oh my god, something Matt doesn't have. He no way has iBoy, because I actually have it in front of me. This is like a beautiful iBoy sketch. And
that's
I was
a great one.
Yeah, PJ was PJ Catacoon, and I was like, yes, but you have an iBoy too, don't you? So
I do.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, and then like briefly about my collection, I think Kasra's put this before in like the OAX information, but look, I first and foremost, I'm a Marvel card collector, but after about 25 years ago, I wanted to kind of branch out. I got a sketch card in hand, and it kind of blew my mind. It was actually a Mark Texeira sketch card of Wolverine, and I could not believe how different it was in other trading cards, and that just sent me down a path of like collecting sketch cards, and then almost parallel path collecting the original art for trading cards. So right now, at least if you look at my budget, the most of my money is spent on original art and sketch cards, not on regular trading cards anymore. So my sketch card collection is not as big as Matt's, but it's not too shabby either. It's probably over, I don't have an exact count, it's probably over 4,000 at this point.
You skipped the line before that. You kind of glossed over that other line. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the focus of this presentation is, of course, the sketch cards, but yeah, a lot of artwork used for trading cards. I think before everybody was paying attention there, I was able to. I have a passion for it, so for me, it's a love, not an investment, and so I've been able to acquire quite a bit of original art that used for trading cards. Yeah, it's over 2,000 pieces at this point.
The archive.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yes, there's a lot of things I've seen before too, and I was just like Jose. I'm not here, but I was collecting too. Kind of in a vacuum of my own, and met Jose, who happened to be in Miami too. I was like, oh my god, how are we so close? We didn't know about each other, and we collect all this like art. So it's awesome that you're here, because you can go to each other's house and enjoy each other's collections in a way.
That's great. It's
around bidding over new stuff we both like. That's okay.
Well, and trade, right? We do like really nice trades and hang out and just talk. So it's good, man. It's awesome.
Great trades.
I was gonna say, do you guys collect any of the Marvel Snap original artwork? They're not physically printed cards, but
yeah, Matt and I do. Not heavy, Tony, because it seems to be like a very strong collector base for those. But definitely, I think I speak for both Matt and I when I say some select pieces. We do collect that, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
I've tried to also focus on ones that are both snap pieces and other like published comic pieces. Some of them pull double duty.
Oh,
yeah,
very cool.
Jose's collection, you can see the first bullet point, an example from every like pack or every collection. He likes to kind of do the shotgun approach, or I guess it could be the sniper approach for each collection, right? And I'm more like the guy that has to have everything from one set. So I don't know, like OCD is like it's great. Like that 1966 Marvel card, the very first one. I have like the full set right here in front of me, and you probably get like one. So you have more variety. And,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of the images you'll see are out of our own collection. So look, we have, again, there's a lot of, for those of you not familiar with sketch cards, there's a lot of, I guess I'll say the word conflict, but a lot of discussions, lively discussions about sketch cards. And like, look, part of what Matt me and Steven are here to tell you is like sketch cards can be enjoyed in a variety of different ways, right? Like we've talked about, you can collect them all by single character. You can collect by theme, like Matt used to do with Mutants. You can collect by single artist, like, hey, I collect Tony Perna sketch cards and nothing else. You can just try for like 1%, or just like whatever sketch card appeals to you. A big message of this presentation, I'm going to say it 3 times in this presentation, is there is no wrong way to collect sketch cards. Like whatever you're doing right now, it's not wrong. If that's what makes you happy, go for it. Right? I think that's a really important message that we'd like everybody to take away from this. Now, I will say that it's generally accepted that a complete set of sketch cards, again, for anybody trying to do that, is essentially one per artist for any one set. So if the set had 25 different artists working on it and you want to finish the set, you got to get one from every artist. That's pretty accepted. But there's a few sets where actually it's one per character and they're actually numbered, like Spider-Man's number 1, Wolverine number 2, and so those are considered a complete set if you have one per character. Marvel Premiere is an example of that, and Fleer Retro is an example of that. So, but all other sets for the majority is just a complete set of one per artist. A lot of character collectors, like we've talked about, a lot of them try to get either 1% or just nice examples of different sets. And again, there is no wrong way to collect sketch cards. Super important.
There's a good question in the chat room that Nicholas, they put that up there. Yeah, it says, do sketch cards have to come from a company, or can you just buy them from any artist?
Great question, because it's our next slide. So what are the types of sketch cards? Okay, these are the formal terms. I think it's pretty accepted that this is what they are. An official sketch card, pack pulled, redeemed, replacements, and incentives. It had to have come from the company. Had to have come with somebody that has the license to do Marvel cards. An artist proof, those are blanks given to an artist by the company to essentially sell on their own directly to collectors. So they were never in a pack. And they are denoted as an artist proof. And by the way, AP for shorthand. An aftermarket. What is an aftermarket sketch card? So any sketch card that has been altered from the original, like let's say you got it pencil and you inked it. Let's say even if the same art. Let's say Tony has a full ink sketch card, and a collector says, "Hey Tony, can you like color this sketch card for me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll color it for you." Sure. And then he colors it. It's instantaneously an aftermarket sketch card.
I've done
it started as an official. It's now an aftermarket.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, people. Collect what you love, but it's no longer official. It's aftermarket. So anything outside of the company's official channels, but on official stock, is an aftermarket sketch card.
And a little history right there we could use is, so aftermarkets were, I think it was back in 2006, Tony, were allowed by Topps and Rittenhouse, whereas artists were allowed to have a collector send their pencil sketches that they did, because that's when they did pencil, and the artist was allowed to ink and or color for pay and return them. So that's where the term aftermarket came from.
And even some examples, I don't know if you have pictures of it, like an aftermarket one that's really, really awesome is this Thanos one here, which is actually on the back of an Impel 1990 card. And he drew this on it.
So we painted it on the printed card. Nice.
Yep. But still beautiful aftermarket.
Yeah. So to Matt's point, aftermarkets have existed from the earliest time of sketch cards. So this is not a new thing. And just because an aftermarket doesn't mean it's outside of the contract by the company. That's different. The contract is different from set to set. So aftermarket does not mean it's outside of the contract. It just depends on the set. Personal sketch card. So any sketch card that is not on official licensed stock, it's a personal sketch card. So like the Tony giveaway sketch card, which is amazing. Like if we wanted to put it in a bucket, it's a PSC. It's a personal sketch card from Tony to another collector, artist to collector, right? It's just a PSC. It's great. Some people have huge PSCs collections, beautiful collections. A lot of artists that never did any original sketch cards, so they want to get a sketch. It's a PSC. Nothing wrong with that. It has a place.
And PSCs can be completely blank 2.5 by 3.5 cards. They can be like Tony just showed, artist branded cards that he had printed. Collectors can get their own cards printed. OAX, we had cards that were on OAX stock. So they come in a variety of backsides, but ultimately if it's not officially licensed.
Yep.
That's it.
And then I have to put in here like a fake forgery. So there are some cards that have entered the market that are counterfeit stock made to look like the original stock, and counterfeit art to make it look like an artist that was on the set. So there's not a ton of it out there, but it's out there, some. And so when you hear that word fake forgery, it is specifically for that. It is not for an aftermarket. It is not for a PSC. It is not for an AP. A fake forgery is representing to be an artist that you're not, or stock that did not really come from the company made to look like it. That's a fake forgery.
And we saw that all the way back in 2011, I believe, when there was I won't name the artist, but who was painting reproductions of Jerry Vanderstelt, Sean Pence, and other Lord of the Rings sketch cards that were extremely valuable at the time. And he was signing them with their names, so true forgeries on official stock that he basically purchased pencil versions and did them over. And we've seen that more recently with 97? Actually, we never saw 97, did we? We saw
98.
Yeah.
So I see some. Yeah, that's exactly right. I see some questions in the chat about what about the oversized cards, 2, 3, 4 panel cards, anything bigger than 2.5 by 3.5. If it came in a pack, if it came from the company as an incentive or in a box, even if it's oversized, it's an official sketch card. It's just an oversized official sketch card.
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
We'll touch on that in a little bit, I believe, on one of the slides. Yep, or a Steven showing some.
I can show examples as we talk about it, so people can see. Like these are official 3-panel and a 4-panel. You can see this one has, Marvel Premiere. Congratulations, for that. And those are the oversized ones. And we'll be opening one today later on.
Jose, can I ask one quick one?
Please, of course.
And if you cover it later, just say so. But the artist proof cards, I certainly can understand it, and I see it as a way of sort of enriching the artist contractually and otherwise. Is there a lot of variability from set to set and the number of APs that are given? Is that disclosed or generally known in the community?
No, great question. So artist proofs, I'm thinking back to what set first had them. I want to say it was 06 Lord of the Rings Evo. Is that right, Matt?
Evolution,
does that sound right? So in that set, 6 artist proofs were given back to the artist. They looked exactly like the regular sketches.
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, you get to keep 6 cards that out of this batch, you get to keep 6 for yourself and sell them directly.
Yep.
No difference in the card. So that set, everybody got 6.
Yep.
Then
and
then
actually,
eventually,
there's a little terminology history on that. When they did them, so for example, if Tony did 100 cards, he would get 106. He would submit them all. He would send them in, and he would identify the 6 he wanted. So that at that time they were either called the 6-back, or at the time they were actually called artist returns, artist proofs.
Yes.
It's interesting too, like tying like the Magic world. The artist proofs in Magic. I don't know if you've seen them before, Jose, Matt, but the way they do it. Like I have an example here. Same card. One of them is an artist proof. They put the blank on the backside, like this.
Yeah. Same exact principle. That is the same exact principle.
So,
those are artist proofs in Magic.
Very cool.
But where I go with that is that it gets I could see it getting out of hand. I wondered whether set makers ended up increasing the number of APs at any point.
Yes, an artist at I think 10 is the most I think I can recall an artist getting per set is 10 artist proof. But to be honest, and for those artists watching, like it's kind of negotiable with each company. Mm-hmm. I think the current state of affairs is that it's a ratio roughly of how many cards are doing for the set versus how many APs they get, and that is slightly negotiable depending on the perceived, no offense to anybody, caliber of the artist.
Yep. Yeah, and Tony can speak to this as Tony is a set card producer as well, so he deals with this from his perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then are blank official stock APs actually ever sold blank? as
Yes, yes, they are. Yes, they are.
That's a hot button topic in the
Yeah.
Facebook groups.
They're
Yes,
not
and
supposed
so
to be.
and so a
is
couple
it a
of
hot?
things.
I'm sorry. Is it a hot button to for an artist to sell it? Is some of the blowback on the artist actually selling it, or on the buyer buying it, or on the buyer then buying it and taking it to another artist and having a different artist? Which part of that? You're
Yeah.
gonna probably say all
The
of
answer
it,
is
but
yes.
Yes to all above.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not sure if you were aware, like, just to link it, they Post Malone, the rapper, bought an artist proof Black Lotus blank, like not the other, it's just a signature for $800,000 of the Black Lotus.
Mhm.
And Kasra, so just know that the vast majority of sketch card collectors, this is my opinion now, the vast majority of sketch card collectors just collect what they like, and they don't like dwell in these like details. There's
Sure.
a small, very small but vocal group that's like takes like they choose their battles. This is like internet warrior type stuff, right? Like you have somebody famous or someone has 1 million followers and 5 people cause them to like jump off the internet because they comment nasty stuff. This is no different in this Marvel card world, right? 5 people are like, you can't believe you sold your artist proof. Like there's let's say some struggling artist in some other country, they don't have time to do the cards, they sell them to their friend, their blank APs to their fellow artist. That's a big problem. Allegedly, right?
One more question for me. I'm so sorry. Is there a perception of AP stock value versus pack pooled? Is there a perceived value that an AP is higher?
To some
Great
people,
question.
yes.
Generally
Depends.
speaking. Yeah.
It could be higher, could be lower, because the quality of an AP on average is better than the quality of a pack pulled card because the artist should have done more work on it. But conversely, somebody looking to make a set will prefer to have a pack pulled card versus an AP card. Again, not a hard rule, but a generality, right? You want a preference for a pack pulled card. Worst case scenario, you'll accept an AP to plug the hole, but you'd pay more for a pack pulled card.
Yeah, but
I would also say generally the longer they've been collecting, the more likely they are to think pack pulled is greater than AP.
Got it. Thank you. That's very helpful. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm looking at Ash's comment here.
You want me to highlight it?
Yeah, sure. I think Ash has a question.
Do you want me to read it off, or?
Yeah, I see it. So an aftermarket card is a card you or whoever buys a card from eBay or handler then wants an artist, so that artist does the work on the blank. The blank was sold off, no just AP, just a blank. Yeah, so this is a blank card that should have been returned to the company, and for many different reasons, there's a long list of reasons, did not, right? And in fact, the company itself, I know for sure, sometimes has given these back, right, to artists. So that is an aftermarket card. It is not an AP.
Yep.
Well, the manufacturers have created a currency that costs them 1/100th of a penny.
Exactly.
That's a temptation over time that us mere mortals can barely handle.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And by the way, like I have blanks in my collection. The primary reason for me to own them is the same reason I own original art and uncut sheets. It's part of the set production process, like a special part, and I like to have it blank. I have blanks from the first sketch card sets. Like they've always existed. And again, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's my opinion. Somebody else might be like, that's terrible, Jose. I respect that. But for me, it's no different than any other. An uncut sheet. Like, what's an uncut sheet of Garbage Pail Kids? Was that supposed to be in a collector's hands? Or did that, leave the factory floor the wrong way? Like, I don't know. Sometimes they were giving away the uncut sheets.
I have lots of uncut sheets of Clive Barker's Imagica, if anyone's interested.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's no different than any other production piece that's used in the process.
Thank you. Again, I'm sorry to belabor it, but that's really, really, really fascinating stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to do a giveaway now, or do we want to keep going and do 2 giveaways later?
I would say do one now. Reward the people who are here at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So this giveaway is courtesy of me. I wasn't sure what card to pick, so I said, you know what? I'll put a variety of sets and characters here, and you guys, the winner can choose what card they want. So if you want to roll this one on, I guess hashtag.
Jose.
Sure.
Okay, 1 second.
It could be anyone really. There's a lot of Jose's. While you do that, I'll be answering some questions here. So Eric Callan, dude, hey man, did Arthur Adams do any AP cards?
Oh.
Yes is the answer to that question. That's it, just yes.
All right, how many we got? 13, 14.
So while you guys do that, Dan Day, I think Dan did some comic work. Is on there. The Human Torch is Nitietza. I always forget if it's Mariano or Fabiano or Fabian or Mariano, but that's one of the two brothers there. Geez, and I forget some of the rest. I have them here with me. Like the Nebula is by Jared Vickery. The Vision's by Bridget Connell.
All right, should we go ahead and do this?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. How many you got?
27, pretty good.
Yeah,
there's
still trickling in.
the professor. Thanks, Derek.
While you do that, Marcus asked, did an artist complain that Topps only paid $1.50 per card art, per sketch card?
Oh, of course.
Look, the pay in general for all the companies, I'm not going to point anybody out, the pay in general is not equivalent to the work that goes into the card. That's what I'll say. Now, is it compensated by the APs, etc., or the exposure? I can't speak to that, but it's definitely not equivalent to the pay per card. So hope that answers your question, Marcus.
Unless you were born in 1882. Yeah.
That history spawned another interesting sketch card moment, which is that, back in 2006, when the pay was $1.50 and there were no definitions around what was required, you would get artists like in the top sets, like Brent Woodside, Ryan Waterhouse, who would say, okay, I'll do 2,000 cards. And in a weekend, they would whip out 2,000 very fast, super rough, pencil only or rough ink only cards. They'd make $3,000 in a weekend. And because Topps didn't have any requirements, they had to accept them.
Yeah, kind of you get what you pay for.
Say, we need full color cards now.
Yeah. Sometimes they have very, very, very well-known artists do APs too. Like, you guys know Joe Rubenstein? Yeah, yeah, Joe Rubenstein sketch, official one too.
Yeah,
have the thing too. So yeah, as you can see,
Joe primarily an inker, but he's been doing sketch cards for ages.
Well, Joe is a trained portraitist from some pretty famous portrait artists too. So, but of course, in the comic book world, he's the most promiscuous inker of all time. That's what I call him. So, guys, are we good now? We're up to 29. Run it. Draw.
There's a beautiful sketch card by Steven. So that's a pack inserted, right, Steve?
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. The exquisite
collection. The professor, the last guy in.
Congrats, Derek.
Congrats, Derek. Okay, I'm going to remove this, and we're bringing you back on.
So did Derek win?
Derek won.
Hey, Derek, if you could post in the comments in the live chat and just tell me which sketch card you want, because I'm going to remove it from the rest of the pool in the future. So just tell me which of these. Just tell me the character, and I will. And that way, when we do it again, we won't offer it.
And also, I think somebody's backstage, Kasra. If you
should we let him in? I mean,
late.
I see some blue sky above his head, and if that's a sunroof, I'm a little nervous for him. Who's that?
Hey guys, what's up? You might be a little nervous. I was parked for a while. You know what? I really ought to start heading home. I don't know if they see me, so I started driving.
That looks your back. That looks like a fake Zoom background.
Yeah, it really does.
It's not actually. So,
hey, good choice on the Nebula, Derek. This is from the most recent masterpieces set. I forget if it was me or Steven that pulled it ourselves, but it's a pretty card. All right, so let's keep on going into history, right? So we've got our definitions. Collect what you love. The first sketch cards ever. All right, look. The first sketch cards ever, first of all, were not Marvel. I know this is a Marvel card call or panel, but there were 3 key sets that introduced sketch cards. This is my opinion on why they're key, and you'll see why. One is Defective Comics by Active Marketing. One is Ken Kelly Series 2 by FPG, and the third is The Simpsons by Bongo. These sets, because I've looked into this extensively, each of these sets were concurrently like racing to release a similar idea. I think they're important to the history, and there's allegations between these groups that the idea was stolen from each other, and the reason that could have happened was because when like the distributor meetings were happening, like diamond meetings, etc., and people were trying to get their wares picked up, some of these ideas were being pitched. And so someone could have seen somebody else's idea and been like, wow, that's great. Let's work it into the set, right? Like, I like what they're doing. Let's just do it ourselves. So let's start with Ken Kelly Series 2. This is in no particular order. They called these, when it was printed, it was called Original Art Card. And the sketches were included 1 per case. They were not pack inserted. I consider these the first sketch cards ever created. I have like documentation that they were done in 1992. And FPG at the time wrote the term sketch card, but when they ultimately went to print, they called them art cards. So even though they started the process in 92, they didn't get released until like 94, which was after Defective Comics. So this here that I'm going to show you first, this is essentially a mock-up, a production piece for the first sketch card. And you'll see, I'll match it up after to the eventual piece. So like Ken Kelly Collection 2, you see the notes here. And then what you see in this image is actually Ken Kelly's artwork in that little box, which is cut out from a big piece and then put there. And then ultimately, this is what was produced, right? So they ultimately didn't call them sketch cards. They called them original art cards. And the idea, this is created by Michael Friedlander, the idea that Michael wanted to do, which is I think so important to the history, is he wanted to be able to give to collectors a piece of original art. Like he likes original art so much, he wanted to be able for collectors to own a piece of original art. But like, how do you do that, right? Like, how do you, through the trading cards, get collectors' original art? This was his solution. He made it a case incentive, and he gave it out to the dealers. And so there it is. This is sealed, but if you opened it up, it would be like a cutout little thing like you see in the production piece. So this piece was acquired essentially from, like, the provenance is this came from FPG. Like, they didn't realize that this could have been the first sketch card, but when I saw it, I immediately knew like what this was.
And it would shrink wrap like that and put into the case?
This is, yes. Just like you see it in the shrink wrap is the way it came in a case. Dealers got this 1 per case.
And they had the artist actually do a piece, or they actually found pre-made pieces?
Yeah, great question.
Inserted?
Ken Kelly would do 10 images per like, I want to say it's like 14 by 18. Ken Kelly would do like 8 different little images that were slightly different variations, and then somebody would chop them up and paste them in the booklets and close them up.
So they were made for the set. And then
they were made specifically for this set. And
just because I want to cry a little bit, how many boxes were in a case, and what was the adjusted for today's value cost of a box versus a case?
Yeah, I don't want to give misinformation on this presentation. I want to say it might have been 20 boxes per case, because that was pretty standard back then, but do not quote me on that. And the price was probably very low, because I have sales sheets for Marvel cards, and it was obscenely low. Obscenely low what dealers would pay.
We'll stick with obscenely low. That's a great answer.
Yeah, obscenely low.
What would like that card there, or something from this, which is kind of like a original art card, rookie card in a way. Have you seen any of these sell before? Like, from this set or this particular ones, like on eBay, and what was it like cost or anywhere?
Oh, actually, these Ken Kelly sketch cards are quite affordable. When they go on eBay, people don't realize how important these are, and they don't go very expensive.
Until tomorrow.
Not until tomorrow.
And he's an important artist too. I mean, what a great
He is a huge artist, right? One of, arguably one of the masters in
is it known? I'm sorry, Jose, is it known or estimated how many of these cards ended up being inserted into cases?
I'd have to go back and check. I have a lot of this written down. I didn't pull that for this.
Sure, and it was a single artist though. It was a Ken Kelly.
It was 100% Ken Kelly. I can tell you that
Ken Kelly was not doing 2,000 over a weekend for $1.50 each, so it's probably very limited.
No. Michael was very gracious with the artists he works with. Like, he pays very well at the time, even because these were sets after each artist. And he, I know for knowing Michael that Ken Kelly was not shortchanged on this. It was probably a very fair deal. But the character of like Conan or this guy is very common. But any non-Conans are very rare.
And this came from a set of all Ken Kelly art. Like it was
all Ken Kelly art. Yeah, FPG in the 90s produced a ton of original art sets.
This is a very, I'm going to use a fancy word. This is a very elegant solution. I mean, first off, the intention was great. Then how do I get them in? I don't want to go to the manufacturer and get them sorted into packs. And then the selection of the artists and the presentation of it. It's just very, very admirable.
Yeah, according to Michael, he got the idea from like when the artist started doing sketches inside of the books. I think that originated around this time as well, like really formalized, like that idea as a formalization. Again, those in the call that correct comic original art longer than I have may correct me, but I've heard people tell me like that was originated like to be formalized in a book. Like this is a book with a sketch, and it originated around this time as well.
And
that's where Michael got the idea from.
What was the year again?
This piece was created in 1992. I have a different piece, Kasra, that's actually the original, like the 10 drawings by Ken, and it literally says, "Here's an idea for this. I call them sketch cards," and it's like contemporaneously written.
Thank you.
That's insane.
Wow.
Jose, what's the size of that card? Is it a regular sketch card size?
This is the big thing is 5x7. The little cutout is smaller than a card.
Okay. Very cool. That's very interesting.
I can't find any on eBay.
You'll find one.
Check
of the
completed
next
auctions.
slide.
You probably just missed it. So a lot of us are aware of the Simpsons sketch cards. They're called original art cards. First of all, they're redemptions, right? They were not pack inserted, and Matt is on record saying that he just would do them on demand. In other words, the company would get like 50 redemption cards or 30 or 20, and he just crank out that same number and give them, and they'd be mailed to the collectors, and he wouldn't do any more. So that's how he says they were created, and they were created as the redemptions came in. Obviously, not all of them were redeemed after the set was released. And so we don't consider these the first sketch cards because the idea wasn't theirs first. They were not pack inserted, and a lot of them were not even given out till past 93, right? But this is what a lot of them look like. There are many variations, and there are only 400 made for this set. These have skyrocketed in value, skyrocketed.
I believe that.
Yeah, I think Hakes just had some up. Yeah,
and here's the craziness of this. Like, if you think of like the foresight that like this company had, if you read the back of this, genuine, one of a kind, authentic piece of matte graining original art. It's real and worth every penny you paid for it, right? So, I mean, I read that as an implication that they knew this would be valuable for a long time. Like, they were never like dirt cheap, but not like they were never like they are now.
You paid nothing directly for them. I mean, The Simpsons. One of the keys is they get lawyers to write the episodes.
They apparently can predict the future too.
So this was a very early sketch card. The idea was there. Famous artists get art into your hands, but these are not the first sketch cards.
Well, yeah, like Jose, they always say like Simpsons did it, and like they always do everything, and everything like that happens. There's Simpsons.
Yeah.
So they knew that this is going to be valuable in the future, and so they just
for sure, 100%. You nailed it on that. For sure, they knew this would be valuable. So then. Defective Comics. All right. So here's a set that, it's dated 1993. That I don't have information on the actual release date. As we know, even currently, a set could be say it's 2022 and then actually released in 2024. So I think it's 93. And what it was a parody by an artist called Mark Voger, and he just did parody covers of a bunch of famous comic covers. And here's like an example of a base card.
Nice.
Fenders, and it's, sappy American, bores again, right? Obviously, there's Captain America parody, an Iron Man parody, a Thor parody, an Ant-Man parody, and a Wasp parody on that cover. America, love it or leave it. And so it's 50 cards in the set, and every one of them is making fun of a very famous, not just Marvel by any means. Because I think there's about 12 to 15 Marvel, DC, Valiant. It's actually pretty funny.
America,
this is
love
the
it or
first.
leave it. So that's a valuable slogan today, I think. Yeah.
Sure. This company, Mark, he's the first to print the term sketch card. That we can't argue with. Sketch card printed is this company, Defective Comics. This is what they're very hard to find. There's only 500 done. Mark Volger did all 500 himself. They were pack inserted, and because this is like the model for sketch cards today, pack inserted, the right size, etc. I think it's fair to consider Defective the first sketch cards. Mark claims that he did all 500 sketch cards in 2 weeks. So I've done the math on that, and it's pretty rough. So if he did it, he didn't sleep much.
Was this like a set of parodies or something? Because
yeah, the whole set, it was like a Garbage Pail Kids, but for comics. That's the best way I can describe it to you. Garbage Pail Kids of comics. So look at this. Look at card number 94 here. It's just he has a very distinct sense of humor.
Wow. Yeah. Love that.
So this is like, again, dude, some of these sketch cards, you got to wonder what he was drinking at the time. Judy Jetson is a minx. That's the whole card. Card number 153. And look, is this the first TV sketch card? Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Here is a parody of The Flash. I forgot what he calls this character, but he's obviously very clumsy. And is this the first DC sketch card? Maybe, right? In a way, in a sense, it is. At least it's DC related. And is this the first Marvel sketch card? It's definitely Marvel related in my opinion, even though it's obviously not licensed by Marvel because it's just a parody.
I could see how he did 500 in a week.
I can too, yeah.
I think the art it's not about the art, how just what he did with it, different concepts, thinking through just random stuff, random thoughts that he put on there and drew it.
Sure. No, it's definitely random thoughts. And I'm sorry I didn't comment on the back. You are now the proud owner of a Defective Comics sketch card. Again, even Mark understood that this had a value, that this was a really cool thing for collectors.
All new sketch cards too. They say that same thing, congratulations on the back, and then they go into
sure. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Do you see these ever come up for sale?
Castro, we had not seen one.
There were two on eBay last week. One sold. One was still there as of 2 days ago.
Yeah,
1,500.
Castro, for a long time, for many years, we had never seen one.
I just assumed some weirdo in San Francisco owned 382 of them or something, right? And that's probably a decent assumption.
South Florida, not
or in Miami.
Not me.
All right, so look, that concludes. There are a few other sets that came between these and the first Marvel cards in '97, but not a lot in those years. They're all pretty rare, actually. But I didn't want to completely go off kilter because obviously we're here to talk about the first Marvel sketch cards and the rest of the history.
That's crazy how much that Offenders and those cards and even the style and some of the sense of humor mirrors Fred Hembeck, who's so beloved in the comic book industry. Here's
and
my
in the PSC world, in my opinion, right? He's still cranking out awesome PSCs.
And he did one official set as well, Marvel Bronze Age.
There's a 50-50 chance he's coming to OAX. Will be his first show in 5 years. So you guys know.
All right, here we go. The first Marvel sketch cards. All right. So before we dive into that briefly, this is in our opinion, Matt, me, as we've mulled this over, another, Fausto, we've how do we look at Marvel card history from 66 to 80 was a certain kind of card. From 81 to 89, Comic Images did a bunch of sets. The Bronze Era is what a lot of people grew up with, 90 to 96. Marvel Universe in 1990 changed the way Marvel cards were done. 96 was the downturn in not just cards, but comics. The reason I show you this, why is this relevant, is because we believe, our opinion is that the 97 set changed the game for Marvel cards, right? Like sketch cards completely changed how, at least opened up the Marvel card collecting world. So we see Marvel cards like in three phases. So like the 97 set starts at an era until about roughly 06. And then the first Masterpieces set with sketch cards starts a different era. And then like the sketch cards get extra crazy in Premiere 2012 with like tins that were just really like, you're going to get a sketch card out of it, like first thing you see. So that's how this is our opinion. Okay, just one way to look at it. This isn't like some kind of hard and fast rule, but just like food for thought. It changed the way we collected Marvel cards. They created an open-ended search, right? Before sketch cards, once you made a set, it was done, you moved on to the next one. With sketch cards, you're never done, right? Every card is a one-on-one. You could be collecting sketch cards for the rest of your life and you're not going to get all of them. And then they also tied Marvel cards to the original art world. Again, OAX, like where's the importance of sketch cards? There was a big connection there. People who collected original art came into sketch cards, guys who collected comics came into sketch cards, and vice versa. So Spider-Man 97, it was the first set to include sketch cards, and they coined the term sketchographs. That comes from Fleer in this year. This is the back of what it looked like. And the cards use the same traditional comic book page trim and mark notation. So if you look at this card here by Al Milgram, you can see title, artist, spot, and like the yellow, like the ways to line up, the overlays. So it's there, and then they wanted the artist to draw in it. This is important or interesting. These first sketch cards came just like this. They did not come uncut like the 98 sets. They came like this. This is it. A blank looks like that, but just unstamped. How did they get these people? They were in the Marvel bullpen at the time. They were mostly done pencil and ink. Some were color. The ratio was one sketchograph per case, so very tough. And notable artists, because you'll see me talk about notable artists, like the rest of the presentation, me and Matt. Every artist was a comic artist. Sienkiewicz, Kubert, Palmer, Sinnott, McLeod. So here's a Carlos Mota. Here's a Sienkiewicz. Here's a Sinnott. Here's a Kubert. Here's a Romita. My opinion, these are absolutely beautiful cards.
Yeah, they are.
Do they know how many they made? Because this is a set.
Yeah, we do know. We do know.
Yeah, that's a lot of printed for like the normal cards for this set.
2,000 cards for this set. 2,000 sketch cards, give or take a couple dozen.
Oh, that's like a mega set.
Bill was definitely not taking $1.50.
Yeah, I have no idea what they got paid. But I'm telling you, almost everybody cranked out quality material.
Did they all do art for the actual like base cards from the set?
No. Really? There's almost no overlap.
Yeah, because I would say $1.50. Maybe if they made paintings for the set, then say, hey, make some sketches for it.
Sadly, the base card set for this series is not very well thought of in the Marvel card community. It's not like trash, but it's
got good art in it.
But it's not what people think about. Like, wow, like that's the set, right? Like that's the set that I remember.
Well, I don't think a lot of people have that nostalgic pull to it, and the boxes are expensive.
Fair.
So you don't get a lot of it.
Super fair points by Justin. The boxes for the set are over $400, and you have and the only insert really is this. So if you don't get this, you're out $400.
Well, hey, if I can speak to one other thing real quick, is that Marvel was going through bankruptcy as a company, and Marvel cards as a whole had already kind of collapsed in '96. So you were not seeing cards in shops at a high level. You couldn't go into your Walmarts where you could get them as a kid. And so this was limited in people's ability to even get it. But yet it had these special cards in it. And then Pokemon took over as well during that time. And most of the minds of the youth at that age. So these kind of went under the radar, from a pop culture standpoint.
Like as a comic art collector of 20, 25 years, I want a book. I want to see every one of these cards by these guys. These guys are like heroes. This is like art that I've never seen by them before. This is crazy to me.
This is
Hey,
insane.
Jose, didn't you have the original box art for that set at OAX this year? The Spider-Man?
No, a different. I had the 95 set box art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just looked at the time. Wow. We're like an hour in, and we just started Marvel. Jeez, I'm sorry, guys.
I told you it should have been 2 hours, but we have plenty of time, and there's still over 90 people watching. So if someone needs to drop off, just raise your hand. We'll have you say something, and then you can bugger off. Okay.
Yeah. Look. Okay. So next set, and I forget. Excuse me if Silver Age came before Creators Collection. They were both 98, but I'll start with Creators Collection. So this set featured both autographs and sketch cards, and from a really wide variety of creators. I want to say there's like over 120 different artists that worked on this set. There was also sketchboards. So I mentioned that because people should not confuse sketchboards with sketchographs. Sketchboards were printed. The art was done by Mike Waringo, and they're just printed, mass-produced. Those are not sketch cards. They're just, they're nice, they're beautiful, but they're not sketch cards.
But they were redemptions, right?
Yes, they were used to redeem the card you see in the bottom right, which is one of the arguably the most important card in Marvel cards, which is signed by both Stan and by Mike. Again, the full artist list remains unknown to this day that I know of. Some artists did as few as 1 through 10, as many as over 400. Some artists repeated certain character poses, but the vast majority were unique. A lot of famous people on this set. This is just a small list. Texera, Brewer, Terry Dodson, Ed Benes, Denver Brubacher, Dave DeVries, Luke Roth. I mean, it's a nice list of artists. Very nice.
I just caught something that you said. You said that sketchboard card with Stan and Mike is one of the most important Marvel cards there is.
Yeah.
Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, that's my opinion, Kasra. Yes.
Well, there's 100 of them to begin with. What is it that has emboldened that kind of value or distinction on that?
Yeah, because it's a 90s card. Right? So when you think about what makes a Marvel card important, like the 90s, like everybody overlaps. Like a lot of people don't collect past like 2001. That's like their stopping point. So it's a 90s card. It's a Stan Lee autograph, right?
Which is like more common than any autograph you could hope to find.
True, but you had to work and collect a card very hard, difficult, and then redeem it. Not all of them were redeemed, and so by process of like numbers and signature, it's just very rare, and it has Spider-Man on it.
Right. Yes, Stan's super common out there, but as far as officially licensed cards with his auto, not so much.
There are very, 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 very few official Marvel cards in the 90s signed by Stan.
I understand. I'm being contrarian just to get more information.
No, it's fine. It's fair. It's fair.
It's like a Stan autograph on a Spawn 1 comic.
Like if this card came out in 2010, I wouldn't say that because people wouldn't be collecting it. But anybody that wants to finish their 90s collection, they need this card.
And when Stan signs as history moves forward, is going to be even more important for a signature in 97 with what was going on around Marvel at that time and for Stan as well. And he wasn't, I don't think, in that season of his life where he was just signing everything to Steven's point. He's signing the Spawn book. Well, he has no business signing that, right?
Yeah.
But this to be a redemption that there was only of those cards that you put together, you had to have pull a Spider-Man of the is the illustrator board, what do they call them? Sketchographs cards. And you had to put them together in a full set. Sketchboards and mail it off and then get the card mailed to you. To me, that's really important when it comes to Marvel cards and Stan Lee.
Yeah, it was sort of the Marvel version of those bottle caps where one letter to spell out the word was the rare one.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
Mail-in was really popular back then too. I remember like Wizard, the Wizard comics or the Wizard magazine, they would have mail-ins and stuff all the time every come out for cards.
Totally get it. Yep.
The 90s were a hell of a drug.
All right. Silver Age. So another strong roster of comic book artists: Mary Severin, Stan Lee, Romita Sr., Buscema, Ayers, Tuska, Sinnott, These and the last set came uncut. I guess I don't know why, but my guess the artist complained about drawing on the cards, and so then Fleer made them like a bigger size. And after the art was done, they'd cut them down to card size.
Gene Colan, nice.
So this is the first time that collectors finally had a chance at finishing a quote-unquote complete set. Like the other sets, some artists did 5, right? 5, 3, 1. Like that's like not a fun chase. This is for a long time was an achievable set. Now it's just more difficult because of the Stan Lee sketchograph, but it was completable for a long time. And then if anybody out there has seen a Tom Palmer or Anthony Castrillo, they're official. They did not come from packs. The artist did not return them in time.
So you said they're official, but they just didn't go in the packs.
They didn't get into the packs. So do with that what you will, right?
Yeah, so
They
you're
were
correct
intended.
to
They
confirm
were
that
intended to
or
go in
not.
the set. They were intended to go in the set. They did not go in the set.
So that color one there that we were looking at with the Iron Man, that one is aftermarket with that
No,
one?
official.
Official. So it
Official.
actually had colored. So this is the first colored sketches maybe inside?
No,
of it?
because 97 had them already, right? Like that
Yeah.
Kubert.
Yeah, the Kubert was colored even, yeah.
Okay.
Bill Sienkiewicz did a colored as well, right? Then you have a J. Jonah Jameson that's colored.
I think Bill did mostly just pens and inks. Yeah, so there are some color in this set, but not a lot. Most of it was Zop coloring an alternative version of his regular ones. All right, going just for time. If there's no question. So this is now a top set. Topps called them custom covers, and their idea. So 2 things. One is they look like a little mini custom cover, like we know now, like a blank comic cover. They also introduced the idea, like, hey, you should collect a full set of these. This is a picture of their own checklist that came 1 per box, and you can see like along with their like inserts on the right, they expected you or thought you should try to chase 1 per quote unquote level. The levels being rarity difficulties. And so like I'll just put examples of the levels. Like here is an example by Claude St. Aubin, by John Zopp,
Wow.
Gus Vasquez, Jamal Eigel, Rick Leonardi, Sean Chen, Bob Layton, John Romita, Steve Dillon. So Steve Dillon, I believe, somebody can fact check this, but I think he was working on or had just finished working on the Punisher comic at the time. It's not an impressive sketch, but it is crazy difficult to find.
Yeah. So
The Romitas and Blaytons, I think it's less than 25 each, if I'm not mistaken, of those 2.
yeah, I mean, to think these are the comic book creators creating these cards, or they have the comic book trade dress on it, which I think is really neat. So the art's going to be true to the card, and then to actually complete a base set, so to speak. Like if you were trying to complete the checklist, you'd have to get a version of each one of these tiers of cards. It's a nifty idea.
It's a great idea because it's just it cuts off the bottomless well of frustration. It gives you something.
100%, 100%, Kasra, 100%.
I love
Like-
that card design.
Like again, to this point, through the 90s, a lot of collectors were trying to make a set, right? Like sets were completable. It might have been difficult, but they were achievable. Things nowadays are not that at all.
Well, the late 90s revealed the fact that the things that you thought were rare because it had limited edition or special edition or whatever actually wasn't rare at all. And so for them to now actually create something with actual rarity through original art on a trading card, and then to tier that in rarity as well is like the opposite of the 90s.
Yeah, they made like chromium think it was rare when there's like chromium was on everything.
Right.
Briefly, Topps follow-up set. They used the same stock as the Hulk custom covers, but they only had 4 artists work on it. So John Zopp did roughly 150, Don Perlin did roughly 100, and then Romita and Mary Severin did less than 25 each.
Wow.
And the custom covers for this set were very difficult. I want to say 1 per case, but I don't hold me to that.
I haven't. If I've seen them, I probably thought they came out of the Topps just because of the card stock. To your point.
Mm-hmm.
Is this also the set that supposedly has the Jack Kirby?
That is the set,
auto in
yes.
it?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? So that stream I did with the a couple weeks ago where I got that Magneto, and there's a Thanos sketch. That was a John Zopp sketch, so he's still doing it.
Yeah,
He's been around.
John Zopp is legend in sketch cards.
Mhm.
Yep,
All
still
right,
doing it.
let's do it. All of them except for the Nebula.
Oh, so we're setting up another one here, and let's do hashtag.
Thank you. And Sean Sellers put some of the ratios in the chat of how hard it was to hit those those custom covers. Excuse me.
And for modern Marvel cards, we're just now getting to experience that again to some degree with sketch cards with platinum, where there's
Sure.
that kind of rarity again. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, they have sketch cards in platinum. Says the guy that opened 8 cases.
Very few people know that they really do. I'd like to say something about sketch cards, going back to some stuff that was being said earlier about original art with sketch cards. I think that is kind of missed, that at least in the process that Upper Deck does, where they approve these sketches. To Upper Deck, each sketch is its own piece of licensed original art that's being published. You've received a one-of-one original piece of art that is licensed and published. It's not the same. It doesn't feel the same as like owning the painting that's then printed over and over again, but it's still an original piece of art that's licensed and published by the person who has the right to do so at the time, which is Upper Deck. It's a really big deal.
To Justin's point, Marvel, not Upper Deck, has to approve every single sketch card that's put in a pack.
Yes.
Think about it. It's almost the same process. It's different, but it's similar in the way a comic book has to be approved for its cover before it can be published, right? Like it's got to go through an approval process. These sketch cards that are pack inserted and some APs, if they're handled correctly, they have to be approved as well.
A few years ago, I spoke to the Disney rep at the time who was responsible for the approvals. And the process was Upper Deck was supposed to do the low-hanging fruit. Like if something was obviously not okay, they were supposed to remove it, and then they'd send everything else for the final approval.
Mm.
And what you mean by low-hanging fruit, there's a clear set of guidelines.
Exactly. There's a zombie card, a banned character, violence, blood, cleavage, all of the no-nos.
Right.
Okay, sometimes artists will push the envelope, see what they can get away with.
Those artists, I tell you.
It's happened.
So again, hashtag cards for a giveaway, and Jose, it would be one of these cards. The prior winner didn't choose yet, right?
He did. He chose the Nebula.
Thank you. So if you win twice, you can try to upgrade to get the Nebula from the first person.
The Human Torch is from the 98 Creators Collection set.
I was going to say, I was like, how does anybody let the Human Torch go after the dissertation that we just got?
They're still coming in, so okay.
So while we wait, some of my closer friends and I, we have like a running joke. See that like beginnings card? Whenever the sketch has a really solid look on their face, we call that like a reaction sketch. It's like it should have its own category, just like reaction sketch cards.
And Vision is the existential card.
Yeah, deep in thought. Deep in thought. So look at that card. Kasra says the Vision part is printed on the card, and the back of the card. So for this set, you could argue that if you get one sketch per character as a set, and Matt will talk more about that. But just there's an example there while we wait.
I have the Doctor Strange Tinder picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's definitely a looking cute. Might delete later.
Oh yeah, it's blue steel. Yeah.
So
all right,
you ready?
Justin, you got something to say. Please go ahead, because
I just have a question for Jose and Matt. Do you prefer that the artists get to decide what character they're doing and the sketch card doesn't reference anything about the character, or do you like it when it's got a comic book trade dress like Topps, or the character printed is actually printed on the back so the artist knows which character to sketch?
Yes.
Yeah, like most of these questions, the answer is yes. The variety is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
We like getting both. Yeah, I love it.
100%. Yeah.
We're doing the giveaway. Draw. Everyone goes silent.
The only time it's a problem is sometimes on Premiere they try to like force a character. That, you know,
Yeah, like
go to
Hercules.
like Mean Girls, like
It
stop
shouldn't be the
trying to make that
same-
character happen.
I don't know what the print run of like each character, like it shouldn't be the same. Like
Yeah, I believe they are.
Yeah, that's
At least in Premiere. Ryan,
Well,
congrats.
theoretically they should be, right, Matt? But they have to all be returned.
Yeah.
Congrats, Ryan. I'm going to take this off and then show this back up. Oh. So Ryan can contact you, knows how to contact you. All that's good.
Yeah, if he can first put the card in the comments so I know not to offer it the next time, that's step one.
Yeah.
And then hit me through Facebook is my name, or what's my I think my link is maybe Castro's in for my comic art fans. Actually, it's not there.
It's not. No, there's no link.
He's welcome to message me.
If you go to Instagram, the Marvel Card Archive, you can find me there.
You can email
There we
any of us. Yeah.
Okay, so from 06 to 08, something odd happened. Both Rittenhouse Archives and Upper Deck, the licenses for Marvel cards overlapped. And so I want you to see it first, like visually, before we go into the sets. So even though Rittenhouse started with the Complete Avengers in 06, Upper Deck then from 07 to 08 had the license still. And so they lost, their license finished at the end of 08. But in that 08 set, they ripped out 2 sets in that 1 year. All the black fonts were 1 per box. X-Men: The Last Stand and Spider-Man 3 were not. So a lot of sketch cards and wrap it in short amount of years.
Those were the last Marvel masterpieces until 16, weren't they?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And
So-
that's essentially it bookends it, right? They lose the license, they finish with masterpieces, they get it back, and Matt will talk about this. They start with masterpieces. This will be a core part of Matt's part. So, Complete Avengers. Look, this is a big change in sketch cards. So this is a picture that I took of the actual document that the artists that Rittenhouse contacted were given, and when they were like trying to do something radically different, and they're essentially saying, look, we want you to do color sketch cards. All of them need to be color. And said, look, you can do any pose you want, but we're looking for more action-oriented drawings rather than a typical headshot. So think about it. They're taking a shot at the old sketch cards, and they're saying, we want to do things differently.
So Ryan's taking the vision.
Oh, perfect. That's a great card. By Bridget Connell. So essentially, this changes things, right? They got clear instructions on what to do in this set. And what it did is Rittenhouse contacted some artists that weren't doing comics, which was cool, right? Because that had a value too, because as collectors, we got to discover totally new artists that had never done any published work. Here are some examples by Warren Martinek. I put these examples because Warren did like sketch card subsets as part of this, and he did cover recreations as part of this set, which that I recall hadn't really seen before, or at least not much. He officially like put them in. And then the guy called Tony Perna was on this set. And it also marked the first time that sketch cards were given, Marvel sketch cards were given as incentives. These were really big and very beautifully done by the artist Cat Staggs.
Nice.
These are like 5x7. They're super nice. It's a case. I think it was a 6 case incentive. If I'm not mistaken.
6 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them.
Yep. So that was that. Oh, by the way, and I would say that there's even some artists that started doing sketch cards on this set and then hit it big with Marvel. So we didn't really discover them until this set, and they kind of made it big. I think Mohammed Asrar was on this set, and I think at the time he wasn't that popular in the comic world, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah,
Exactly right.
I don't think DeLiz had gotten her comic.
Sure, I agree.
But that was not Warren's first set.
No, Warren Martinek started in Creators 98. That was his first set.
Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up because it was
Yep.
you showed his card while you were talking about new artists being discovered.
So Masterpiece '07, relaunches the Masterpieces brand since '96. It brought the first Masterpieces sketch cards. Similar to the very first Marvel sketch cards, it had a lot of comic book artists, a lot. So it was kind of like a hybrid. So here, like a lot of people like, oh, Masterpieces '07 is not a great set. It's not very good. I understand why people say that because they haven't seen the kind of sketch cards that were coming out of the boxes, right? We opened a lot of this set. So here's like a Doctor Strange by Travis Charest. Here's a Black Panther by Chung. Here's a Captain America by David Williams.
Wow.
Here's a Colossus by Arthur Adams.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Here is Mr. Sienkiewicz's
Electra.
maybe first AP on a Masterpieces of Elektra. And here is Joe Jusko, to my knowledge, his first AP sketch card ever.
Those don't suck.
They're okay.
Wow, Joe did a full body on a sketch card?
Yeah.
Don't remind them.
Wow. That's special.
Don't forget Fing Fang Foom over here. He's not happy he wasn't included in the bottom row.
I like it.
Brilliant.
So Tony did amazing work on this set, like real tight inks with the black background, and he was hot out the gates. Like everybody was fighting over his sketch cards. I have very few examples, unfortunately, because it was a dogfight.
Jose, you know that Silver Surfer one that I got from you? Is that what original or aftermarket one?
Silver Surfer that you got.
This one.
Aftermarket, I'm pretty sure. No, 100% aftermarket.
Okay, beautiful. One of my favorites, but it's from that Masterpieces. Yeah, that's awesome.
Then Upper Deck, when their license was about to expire, they were like, hey, let's do it big. They did 2 sets in '08. I would argue the average quality dropped a little bit. Again, they were trying to crank these out, but there were still some stellar comic artists, including some that were completely new to sketch cards. Here's Chris Brunner. Here's Scotty Young, Kerry Gamble, Nelson DeCastro, Bacalo, David Mack, Corey Hampshire. This is now the B set. So anybody who's a card collector, I call this set 08A and 08B. That's how I distinguish them. A lot of my friends have adopted those terms. It's just easy. Corey Hampshire, some guy named Tony Perna with a beautiful Iron Man. Here's a really beautiful, like a subset, sketch card subset by Butch Mappa. Here's one by Jim Mafood. Here's another Bacalo. Here's Jim Chung again.
And you're calling it a subset because he kept something similar about each card or the style that he did?
Yeah, you see if you can look carefully, he called them Hero Theory, the Hero Theory subset out of 10, and he essentially put a character and an emotion or description, and they look very similar to this.
So that's the Gambit, right?
That's the Gambit from the subset, yeah. So people collect these subsets, like for different, but you don't see them a lot because they get gobbled up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Marcus is right. It's been 90 minutes and we have not even seen one MODOK yet.
Oh, but Kasra has one. Look,
Say hi to Eric.
The first Marvel movie sets that had sketch cards, X-Men 3, not a lot in there, only 4 artists, very collectible set or completable set. And then Spider-Man 3 had 6 artists as dealer incentives. Last I checked, there were a bunch on eBay recently. They're actually really nice. They're really pretty sketch cards. This is Cat Staggs on the left, Brian Kong middle, and Jim Kyle on the far right.
Poor Incredible Hulk not considered part of the MCU.
No, because that set is not an MCU set, Matt.
Yeah.
It's a comic Hulk set. All right, and then I think before I turn it over to Matt, I think it is. Let me see. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Before I turn it to Matt, one more giveaway, and then Matt takes over.
Okay. Let's just keep on talking. I'll set it up.
Fernando has a question.
When do we first see puzzle sketch cards?
Huh.
I'm trying to
Masturbation.
think if the 98 sets, if I've ever seen a puzzle in the 98 sets, Fernando.
I don't even know if I complete
2001
Avengers. I don't think so.
2001 had sort of puzzles. They like the cards are like 1 and 2 and they match. So that's for sure had it. They're not common. So at least 01 was for sure had them. I don't recall 98 out of the top of my head. 97 for sure. I've never seen one. 98. Oh yeah, no, 98 had them because 98 had John Zopp did the 2 halves.
Oh, the 2 sides. Yep.
Yeah, the 2 sides in 98. Yep.
Jose, can you check the private chat?
Yeah, of course.
As you see, Tony's inappropriate selfies.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why it's private. Go on, Matt. Go look. I know you want to. Or did you already?
Tony, do you still have those
Get some
that we
bleach.
did on the stream with Nork that were unclaimed?
No, I gave them to some people who were interested in them.
Awesome. No, good deal.
Yeah.
While we got a second, I know Alonzo's Collectibles is in there. Brother, I want your voiceover talent. I got something to record and it needs your voice pretty bad. Please get in touch. Matt, put me in touch. Somebody put me in touch. I got something for him to do. Yeah.
Alonzo does have a very recognizable voice. For
Is
sure.
it like a mob hit?
I've watched hundreds of hours of card content, mostly from like Spidey Hits, Sketch Card Hive, and Last Pack Magic, and all the regulars, right? But the funniest moment to me was Simone Bianchi, I think last summer, maybe on your channel, Justin. I don't remember. And Alonzo Collectibles was in there, and Simone just stopped and was like, "If I could come back and speak English, I'd want to speak exactly like you." It was amazing. It was amazing. I could see Simone like growing up on like 70s cop shows or something and just wanting to talk like Louise. So I think we still have a few coming. We're up to 42. That's pretty good.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
The viewers are only going up. We're at over 120 now.
Oh, that's great.
So maybe we're going.
I added the Spidey Hits channel. I hope that was okay.
Thank you. Of course. Thank you very much. Sure. And obviously, if you want to share it there, that's completely up to you. We still have people coming in.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Should we
Maybe
cut
should
them
do a
off?
quick summary on what we've covered for all the new people here too.
Let's just restart.
Yeah, restart.
I can.
I'm going to add this just for 1 second. These are the cards.
Nebula and Vision have been claimed. Nebula and Vision have been claimed.
Okay.
So
Chuck Arnold's sneaking in.
one thing I think is interesting that we haven't touched on was the gap, like from 98 to 2001, 2001 to 2007. Like,
Sure.
What was going on during that time?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think we're going to see a version of that now, Justin. So while Castro's running this, so the question is, what was happening? The big sketch card gaps, and already at this point, a lot of collectors were just collecting sketch cards and like nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was from the gap from 01 to 06 was just one set, the Hulk set. So in that gap, people went back to the 98 sets and 97 set, and the prices for those skyrocketed, and people were fighting over them tooth and nail for anything that became available. Then we weren't sure what to expect with Masterpieces 07, and as soon as Arthur Adams sketches started getting pulled and similar artists, people went bananas, and prices went up, and a lot of interest came in again to sketch cards. And then we had
communities existed in email chains and forums online. Is that right?
Oh yeah, like old school Yahoo groups was like dedicated to Marvel sketch cards or just sketch cards in general. I mean, there was a strong collector base for specifically for sketch cards.
Mhm.
A lot of those collectors, they still have their cards. Like they're not collecting anything new, and they're sitting on like a horde of beautiful cards.
Guys, we do the giveaway. Is that all right if we butt in?
Go for it.
Launch it.
All right. Got up almost to 50. Katie Perkins.
Congrats.
All right.
Congratulations.
Just
So-
put in the comments and please tell me which one when you guys see it, and we'll. With that, I'm gonna hand it over to Matt to pretty much take us. I'll come in on the last slide, but I'll control for Matt, but he's gonna lead the way from here.
Sure. And I think, Rittenhouse set a cadence, so I think we're going to be tearing through this a little bit faster. But yeah, let's start sort of seeing some of the Rittenhouse sets we had. Yep. So big thing that Rittenhouse really established is for their entire run, sketch cards were 1 per box, which was really just a golden age for sketch collectors. That led into, after Complete Avengers, which was the first of theirs, Women of Marvel came out. Great Adam Hughes sketch right there. The Iron Man movie, Bob Layton representing there. And then the first of the 3 archive sets, the Fantastic Four archives in 2008, I believe. Dave Simons. Love his work.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the reasons we can just focus on sketches here because, outside of, archive boxes, which are a whole separate discussion, the cards were great. Don't get me wrong. Rittenhouse did a great job on the base sets. They did great on inserts like the emeralds, the diamonds out of 10. They had the archive boxes with the rubies. But for a lot of us, the sketches were still the driving factor to get those. So, and then once we started getting into the X-Men Origins movie one, and then the next archive boxes, we really started shifting away from comic pedigree artists to, heavily focusing on specific artists contracted just to work on sketch cards. There were certainly still pedigree artists like some of these, like Bob McLeod, who were inserted, but more and more there was this new group of artists who were cutting their teeth on sketch cards and building up followings through there. Kat Stagg's another great example. Kat, who's gone on to do tons of Star Trek comic covers and other amazing covers as well.
It almost looks like a transition from like sketch cards to like mini painting cards.
We're definitely picking some nice ones to display for sure. There were definitely a mix of sort of rougher cards, but overall, I would say Rittenhouse's average quality holds up against any set that's come since. Their art directors did a really good job of, curating a set of artists who were, I think, eager to sort of prove themselves and get that Marvel brand on their resume. It's sort of a cliche when, artists talk about, oh, I'm doing it for the, they talk about the low pay and, the line is, oh, you're doing it for the reputation and, but I think some did and some certainly leveraged it. So,
any chance Rittenhouse paid more?
I certainly over the $1.50. I don't think they went above $3. Is
Okay.
what I seem to remember.
Okay.
But I do think they were generous, at least at the time, with the ratios. It was usually like one AP per 10 or 12. And the APs at the time, another nice thing about Rittenhouse is the APs remained that oversized 3.5 by 5. I'm sorry, 4 by 5 card. And when they were approved, they didn't need to be trimmed down. So the artists had a lot more canvas to work with for their artist proofs.
Rittenhouse paid a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
do.
I mean, we're talking, like I said, we're going from $1.50 to like $3 or $4.
500% more.
Yeah.
They tell the artist who to do, or do the artists get to pick really, any character they want?
There was always a list of characters you were allowed to draw and not allowed to draw.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
Yeah,
always had-
Rittenhouse was more focused, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, on the you can't draw this. And
Yes.
anybody who's not on the banned list is wide open.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then for years, at one point, around 2012 or 13, the banned list went to like 4 pages because any character who ever touched the Fantastic Four universe was individually banned on like 3 or 4 printed pages.
Yep.
Poor Willie Lumpkin got his own line.
Yeah, no, like the masterpieces there, the paintings take a while, and they're painting it, and then it became on the ban list after the painting was done.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to say that if you're going to if you find these boxes sealed and you're going to try to buy them and open them to get these sketches, you're not guaranteed to get one of these incredible sketches that are pictured here. It is a risk, and it's even more of a risk if the box has been open and you're buying loose packs, because people can identify which pack has a sketch, and then they sell the loose packs because they.
Yeah.
Is that a magic right there?
It's Magic and Spidey. I'm enjoying it. We can.
I'm drawing on your keyboard.
Allison was at OX.
Yep.
So was Bob.
To the next slide. One of the nice things that Rittenhouse did was they did some great incentives. So it's hard to believe, now when you see cards pre-selling for $300, $400, $500 bucks and still selling out, that there was a time where dealers needed to be incentivized to pick up these cases, right? Because there was financial risk. They just wouldn't sell out on some of these, even with the sketch cards. So Rittenhouse would give them different incentives. So for every 6 cases, you would get an Anthony Tan case incentive. For if you bought 9, you would also get a Glebe incentive. And then they hit a point where if you bought, I don't remember if it was 12 or maybe 15, you would get what was called an archive box. An archive box was essentially a hot box where, sorry, I need something different to my kids, where you would get a box that was loaded with sketch cards, anywhere from, I want to say there was one that only had 10 or 15, anywhere up to 25, and maybe Heroes and Villains might have been 25 or 30. And you would also
influencer boxes now, right?
Yeah, it pretty much.
On my shoulder.
Yeah. And then there was a stretch where you would also get the exclusive Ruby parallels numbered to 50. That was the only place you could get them, were in those archive boxes.
This
Which
kind of
sort of
sounds
hinted like there were only 50 archive boxes.
It's like EPAC before EPAC, like in analog world.
Yeah, except it was the dealers who got these and were able to sell them directly at the exorbitant prices. And they would come like regular sketch cards like these. You would get oversized ones like that Tim Shea was an 8x10. They had double 4x, so 8x5 for Marvel Greatest Heroes were some incentives. And there were definitely a whole bunch of different sizes out there. And they would all come with that seal, which some horrible people break when they get them to release a sketch.
Evil people.
Worse.
They really just should be flogged and
They're not in their
dragged
right
to the
mind,
city square. So yeah, bringing in new talent. Would you give me the next button so I can remember what we're saying here? Like I'm gonna riff on this. Yes. So when you look at some of the sketch artists who are super popular now, a lot of them did come in those 2 years. Rhiannon, who's been a staple in the sketch card community, came in 2010. Renee DeLiz, who went on to do the Wonder Woman and some other sets. Iman Casalos, who still produces great cards, and Charles Hall, who did that Thanos that Steven showed earlier, has been doing oil painted sketch cards for years. And again, all of these, just the quality that some of these artists would put into these cards that they were only getting paid that $3 for, shows, I think, their love of the IP. And it really was just a boon to us as collectors. Still is, if you can get one of the boxes.
What are you showing,
Oh,
Steven?
that was the Charles Hall he had mentioned.
Yep.
You know, I gave Charles Hall more MODOK commissions, painted commissions from 2003 to 5 than any human being should ever have to do. So I'm taking credit for him becoming good enough to do these sketch cards.
Well, thank you for training him for my nice sketch art.
You got it. Your Thanos is better than my MODOKs, but I got a couple of good ones.
And I think we're taking a pause for another giveaway. Is that right?
Okay. Is this is for Tony Perna. Okay. Here we go.
Tony graciously is letting us do another giveaway.
I was just acting like I didn't read the secret message.
And then Tony, which one was
Rogue
taken
was
earlier?
taken. Rogue is gone. Yeah.
Yep. So any of the other 7s?
Wow.
So we're doing hashtag Dolly Parton.
It's if he does another one, we're gonna go to double D. Yeah.
Hashtag
I noticed that the person who won the most recent one also was the last person to put in the hashtag.
Yeah.
So wait till the last second.
Keedy Perkins, did you pick a character from Jose's pack? I didn't see that.
I haven't seen it either.
It's a bad time to ask with all these hashtags. Sorry. Spidey Hits entering the giveaway.
It's Tony Perna. What do you want me to do?
Well, if he's doing it, I'm doing it.
Open up all your accounts, guys.
Well, Justin, did you hear the news?
No, I did not.
I'm going to be at OAX.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Put me down on your commission list. I'll take the #1 spot. Thank you.
Okay.
You actually missed where all his slots sold out. So
What?
Well, he did.
You have Eric Grove here too, who was at the last year's one as an artist.
Tony did auction off his 3 APs last week.
The oversized, yeah, the uncuts.
Yep.
And where was
Well, what's that?
Yeah, on our sales stream, Tony was there, and he auctioned off 3 APs.
What card stock?
They were
It was just 2 Avengers MGH, Avengers Silver Age, and Bronze Age.
but all 3 were magic, with Spidey looking through the back.
yes.
Hey, I know what you're doing. But I own my Tony Perna on the uncut, so I'm very happy.
Well, at OAX the next years, I will be approaching you for my Thanos, sketch or something for it. I'm gonna make it a trend because I had the Eric. Kasra, do you see the one Eric Grove did on these ones that we had from the last OAX?
Eric killed it.
Eric killed it. This is the one from the OAX card.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yep. Great job, Eric. He's watching right now.
I
Now,
have a
are those
Spidey
cards given out-
from him, but I can't show it yet. So
I was gonna say, are those cards given out just to attendees, or do the artists get some too?
Yeah, Jose, you want to explain how he did it?
Well, we have some Kasra and I and Steven have some ideas on how we're going to do it for 2025. In 2024, they were given to attendee artists, as starting with a certain quantity and then an unlimited amount if they wanted to keep doing more. And also, so every attendee to OAX got one a blank in their bag. So they could essentially go commission any artist they wanted, including during the free sketch period. But this year we're going to get real creative with it. We're going to announce some really fun stuff with the sketch cards ahead of OAX 2025.
I still have one of my blank OAX sketch blanks, and it feels precious to me. Like I don't want just any sketch on it. Like I love it.
This was my blank, and then I asked Eric. I was like, "Do my boy on it." He killed it. So it was awesome. So Perna, I'll be doing it next year for the.
Yeah, and if you're hearing OAX for the first time,
I'll be waiting for Steven.
OAX is original Art Expo. They had the first show this past January 2024. 2025's Expo has been announced and the dates. It is focused on original art, but there's going to be a very specific segment of that expo that's going to be geared towards Marvel cards and Marvel cards original art. It is going to be by far, in my opinion, the place to be for Marvel trading card fans and art fans.
I'm very excited to meet everybody in person and to chat and, just to get to know everybody.
Yeah, it was
Very
great.
exciting. Very exciting.
Never meet your heroes, Tony.
No, you're not my heroes. I just want to meet you.
Yeah, I don't know who in here is going to be his hero.
You want,
No, you guys.
Kasra, you wanna run this bad boy?
Yeah,
you guys
it's
need a
62.
I,
Let's
I
go.
was I was waiting for Chuck Arnold, and he just did it.
It's about time, Chuck. Jeez.
Congratulations, Chuck.
No, let's see.
Here's the last one. Let's see if he wins it. And we know how to hack the system.
Victor.
Oh, Victor. Big congrats.
All right. Hopefully Victor's seen that and he knows that he's won.
And can you put back the images up so he can know what to pick?
Sure. Take a screenshot. Pick one.
Pause it. Just hit the pause button.
Or that.
Oh, he's there. He's in
I'm
the
moving
chat
on.
room.
Jose's got somewhere to be.
And then all good things come to an end. So Rittenhouse did lose the license at the end of 2015, but during that last 9 set period, those 3 years, they put out some amazing sets.
Wow.
And just some examples. Bronze Age, my personal favorite of the Rittenhouse sets. Anthony Tan, Marvel Universe, the second set after 2011. This was the 2014 set. Great Warren Martinek cover recreation there. Marvel 75th anniversary in 2014. Vin Zeltab. And the final set, the Silver Age. Nice Helga Wojcik right there.
Incredible.
That Hulk 181 is amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Why the hell would anyone do that? Why? My goodness. I'm looking at that going, that poor man.
Look at this one.
Oh, Warren? Warren is a beast.
Yeah, Warren is a genius.
Warren is a beast.
Ah,
Is that
He's a
Warren
magic,
also?
but I love
Yeah,
him.
this is Warren as well.
yeah.
I think
Why does it
I think
still have a
Warren
seal?
I think Warren was going to catch this later, because he's aware of this presentation, but he's an animal.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Warren.
He's amazing.
Warren is definitely loved by the collectors on the screen, and I'm sure in the chat. But with the
Wow,
passing
that's a
of
great one.
Rittenhouse,
That's a great one, Justin.
Thank you.
Upper Deck right back in it.
Iron Man. Okay, I got you for Iron Man, Victor.
So Upper Deck, again, sole card distributor in the U.S. Panini still had the European license, but they weren't doing sketches. And they relaunched it with 2016 Marvel Masterpieces. Homage back to Joe's set. And on the sketches, the artists were given a very specific set of instructions, which is that every sketch you did needed to be a homage. So it could either be an actual recreation, like someone could have done Elektra in that pose as a sketch. Some artists, like Little Lee, took this sketch but did a different character in the same pose. So there's definitely some nice variety in there. But this is another way with this set that you could have collected it, not just across the artist, but you could collect it by the specific card it was referencing and homaging, and you could get multiple characters. I mean, the way you could slice collecting this set, and the way some of us did, was just almost endless. And then the one exception to the rule is that Joe himself contributed sketch cards to the set.
Here's one from that. This is inspired by Deathlock from Masterpieces 92, but it's
Nice.
tarnished. So you can see here on the back of it, it's the
Yeah, and they that section was put there so they could reference it, which was always great.
that's an example.
And almost all of them were homages to the Masterpieces cards. A few people did some of those oversized magazine covers he did, but very few of those.
Matt, I know assholes and opinions, everyone has one, right? But I thought that some people weren't like thrilled with the fact that there were homages. And what's the problem with that? Actually, can you just give me like 30 seconds on sort of the pros and cons in the community about that? I'm just curious about that.
I think it just comes down to originality, right? I think some people want their sketches to be wholly unique pieces. And
They want to know where they don't want to know where it comes from, is really what they're saying.
Right. They don't want any sketch that
Okay.
says after an artist.
Okay.
Well, just about
And
any.
even today, when people do.
Well, what
those-
about the Hulk 181 cover recreation?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, some people wouldn't want those in theory.
So I was like live in the thick of things during the when the pre-orders were going in, and a lot of the guys and gals that were collecting sketch cards heavily at the time were not happy about it. And the problem wasn't that there were homages. The problem was that the whole set was homages, right?
Yeah.
Like the Warren Martinet card that you showed is like a subset that Warren does for each series. That he kind of does some, which are cool as heck. But there's a lot of artists. He does all the ones that are totally original. So our problem at the time was like the whole set is homages. The originality was completely missing. And by the way, there were artists that weren't happy about it either, because like they wanted to show off their skills as well. So
And the back of the card says original art, and so you pull away from the intent of that when you go to such a strict homage of the artist.
So this set has into they're redoing this set. The 2016 masterpieces of Joe Jusko. They're making the larger set they just announced like a month ago. Are they doing sketches for that set? Do you know?
Yes, they are.
they are.
I do not know, however, if the sketches also have to be homages. That I don't know.
Tony?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I passed on that set because of the. I wanted to be more creative, and having, for example, Rogue doing Black Cat's pose where everybody else was doing different characters, but in that same pose, kind of didn't do it for me. And I even talked to Joe about it too. Joe was at one of the cons, and he asked me, he goes, "Are you on the set?" And I said, "No, I had to pass." I go, "Nothing to do with you, but I go, I like to be a little more creative. I like to throw things in there, but when I have to copy a certain, pattern or whatnot, it didn't do it for me."
Wow.
Tony, for clarity, you're talking about 2016 Marvel Masterpieces, not Marvel Masterpieces XL.
No, Marvel Masterpieces, 2016.
I don't think XL has homages, just from what.
Yeah.
It's a
Are
free.
they gonna be XL sketches though?
Yeah, they're
So,
going to
yeah,
be big.
Thanks for confirming that, Tony, because I had heard that also, and I'm so happy you confirmed what I've been saying for many years. I get asked a lot, why did people pass on MM16 when it first came out? I was one of those people, and the reason was because of this, because of the homages, the homage sketches specifically.
Yeah,
They also have
I love
buybacks
his
too.
work.
They have buybacks inserted there too from the '92 set.
Yeah.
That's
See,
all
I'm the
very.
weirdo. I loved them.
Elaine wants me to give this away when we have a minute.
1 second, Tony. Here. Very nice.
She
That's
says,
an
I'll take it if you're giving it away.
Hashtag. No hashtag. Just give me.
Yeah, right.
I want you all to see that face smiling and laughing.
"Oh man."
So yeah, and one of the things UD has done very well since they took it over is, well, first of all, put out tons of sets. I mean, almost 50 since in the last 8-9 years, just ridiculous. Just in 2023, 20 sets. That's crazy. But branding sets are obviously a key part of their strategy now with the masterpieces. Four sets so far, and then the reintroduction, I should say, of Premiere kind of post 2016. They took the 2012, 2014 model and relaunched that for 3 years now. And even Marvel Anime, they've started to turn into a recurring set. And I think from a sketch collector point of view, I think that's a positive, because when a certain sketch set resonates, like Anime is a great example. When Anime came out, I would say for the first 2 to 4 weeks that set was slept on, but then all of a sudden that set clicked, and it just became the hottest set I think they put out in the last few years. And so the anticipation for Anime 2 was through the roof.
So that first one there from Premiere's the Hellfire Club set, right? Like
Yep, that was a subset that they introduced where they were actually numbered. Don't get me started on the whole concept of numbered sketch cards. I think that's just nonsense.
Yeah, so I was actually wondering that. So this one here, the numbered, you can see it's like of 30, 23.
Yeah.
So is it the same sketch 30 times that it was inserted there?
The same frame, no. So there are 30 sidewalk sketches, for example.
Oh,
So I believe there were 30 artists who each did one of each of the characters who had a portrait.
so were there people that could try to collect each character portrait from each artist? Or?
A lot of people did, yep.
So the art is effectively the one of one. It's the card stock itself design that's numbered.
Yeah. So, for example, on that premiere Maliki Yakar, that's the only Phoenix she did, but she would have done an Emma Frost. She would have done any character who had.
It would make more sense to say, congratulations on receiving card number 17 of 30 framed Hellfire Club's original art of
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a downside of that is because the frame takes up so much real estate, the actual usable sketch area is, I want to say it's like 33% smaller than a normal sketch.
It actually, on the back of it, Justin, it says, congratulations, you have received a hand-drawn one-of-a-kind Marvel sketch.
Ooh.
And because of that frame, some of the artists were extremely hard to identify because their signatures were buried under the frame.
Yeah.
Wow.
We interrupt this broadcast. Steven, it's your time to shine.
Oh, well. So
Speaking of Marvel Premiere.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about Marvel Premiere as you put those up. So Marvel Premiere didn't come in packs. It came in these big, you hear that? Tins. This is a pack of Premiere. And what they did in them is you'll get another pack of cards. They're extremely thick, like 3 cards. There's a base set of 50. They give you a sketch card that's like the normal size, and then they give you a random card that's either 2, 3, or 4 panel. Like this, these are examples that came from it. These are 4 panel and a 2 panel.
Or 5x7.
Yeah, 5x7. Actually, I saw Ash's on here too. I have one of Ash's. Let me see if I can find a beautiful one. One of my favorites. Here we go. This is Ash and Zaz 2 panel I got from the latest set.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Oh, nice, Mr.
I see it.
Yeah, very nice.
For this to be a true historical archival video, shouldn't you open that? So
this is a sealed one, and we're gonna open it and see what sketches come out of it.
Oh man, AVR, that's right. Always be ripping.
Alrighty, so
and if you haven't seen a Premiere box being ripped, it's a treat because it's fantastic presentation and how they do it as well.
Yeah, it really is.
Well done.
All right, it's open now.
And
It reminds me of the Marvel Gems where they had that whole experience just opening the box.
I always like to slide it and see, do I have a 2 panel, 3 panel, or 4 panel, like we have from the beginning. All right, so here.
Yeah, show us the Steven technique.
Yeah, just a little peek. Just a little peek. All right, here it goes.
Does the air smell different in it?
Triple panel.
Ooh,
Yeah,
there's a lot going on
3
there.
panel.
What is that? Ooh, make them big. Is that Beast?
No, it's Black
It's
Panther.
a Brian Soriano.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yes,
All right.
Soriano.
So that was it. Not too bad. Better than the last one that we saw from before, Jose. And then on the back of it, actually, I like the back a bit more.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right, but that's not all. So that's the presentation that they do these in. So they have it kind of like a piece of plastic here, and then there's a pack underneath it. And the pack has, I believe, 4 cards. Yep, 4 cards, and one of them is a sketch card itself, and then inserts that are base cards, and they're all serial numbered of 50.
Yeah. Usually you would get a base, a parallel base, and an insert.
That's the sketch.
So here's a sketch. This is the artist.
Ooh,
Dennis Medley, he's great.
All right, let's see what it is. I'll go one at a time here. Here's a base card. So this is a Vision.
Oh, purple.
Yeah,
Nice.
purple, man, nicer. The Vision of 99. Purples are rare. I think these are like of 10 or. Yep, of 10.
congrats.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome.
Dave Palumbo. Dave Palumbo.
Breakout
Uh-huh.
insert. That's a new one.
And here's the sketch.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Very nice.
Wow.
did you buy it?
It's like, can I buy it from?
So yeah, that is a premiere box and guaranteed art in all of them.
Hey, you didn't get Hercules, so we
Yeah.
did
And
good.
like we said, Premiere remains the primary sketch
Yeah.
focused set, especially as we'll talk about in a few slides. I think as sketches become more and more rare, ideally the Premiere brand holds that title as the sketch focus set.
And I'd like to show my favorite personal premiere sketch I've ever got. This is by far my favorite. The front and the back.
Well, nice. Ballard.
Ballard, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, very cool.
Yep. And the back actually might even be better.
So what's the dimension of that, Steve?
Oh, nice.
Lady Death.
That's insane.
So that one would be 7.5 by 3.5.
Yeah, it's essentially 3 cards. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it looks bigger, which is nice.
It's a beautiful card. Beautiful.
And shout out to Hardball 34 on eBay who does those cases.
Love it.
Beautiful.
All right, we're in the home stretch here. E-packs, yes. So in addition to re-releasing Masterpieces in 2016 when they got the license back, Upper Deck introduced a love it or hate it product called Upper Deck E-packs, which is an online distribution platform where you can purchase packs. You get your cards as you get images of the cards, either a picture of a physical card, which you get in the pack, or many of the sets also have digital only cards, which you can combine. So you can get, say, for example, you get 10 digital cards, you can click combine and you can exchange that for an e-pack exclusive physical card. And that's across all digital cards except for Marvel Cyber, which for some reason is digital only. You can't get any physical cards. Weird. But then that's been their model. We don't know what the ratio is of how much they release physically versus how much they release on e-pack. Obviously, they make a much bigger profit margin by selling direct to consumer on e-pack. So there's certainly the incentive to do that. And when you can take what was an all physical release and then dilute it a little by having digital only cards, again, only increases that profit margin. So I would say e-pack has done very, very well for Upper Deck. For collectors, it's, if for a sketch collector in particular, since they're always physical, it is a great trading platform. If you have a sketch that you're looking to trade, there's just always activity on there, and ways to find traders and or buyers.
And it's all public too. You can see all the people that pull and what they have as well.
Yep.
So it's almost like a blockchain in a way. You can see the cards on there. And because I've opened e-pack recently, and once I pull something, I started getting trade requests instantly for things.
Another great thing about e-pack is the access that it gives to collectors who don't have access to the product, whether it be globally or locally.
Store, yeah.
It allows a greater audience to still participate in Marvel cards and still be connected to a community, like you said, from a trading standpoint.
Yep. And there are some e-pack exclusive only sets, not a ton, but the Freddie Ian's Unbound set, Marvel Weekly, as some examples. And then we're moving into this interesting new age where we're seeing international sets who have sketch cards in them. So even though Panini still does the Europe ones, they've only done one set so far, which has had sketch cards. And it actually had a very unique take on the sketch card, which I think we'll talk about in a second. There it is. So what they did is the artist created a sketch card, and then they used that sketch card as original art to create printed versions of it. So, for example, that sketch card right there, Spider-Man, that's a 1-to-1 sketch card. There are also different numbered parallels of that as printed cards. So there's an out of 10, an out of 25, an out of 99, for example. So it's definitely a very interesting take on that, where it's a sketch card and original art wrapped into one bundle. Finding Unicorn is the other example, Chinese set, who have got the Marvel Asia license, and through Jeff Benitez, who's managing it overseas, they're putting together a fantastic roster of Filipino and other artists, but heavily artists based in the Philippines, and they're putting out some fantastic work. The only downside is if you're in the US, it can be a challenge to at least find the boxes, but the sketch cards and certainly the artist proofs are making their way up into the market. And I think in our final topic, it's just that, yeah, sketches are becoming rare. There's a whole bunch of reasons. I think just the hassle of managing that many artists. I think there are some challenges with this whole aftermarket issue that are causing challenges. You know, we saw on Topps that Star Wars no longer offers artist proofs because of some issues where people were doing definitely unauthorized cards. Whether Marvel will go that way, it's hard to say, but in the meantime, we're seeing that they're becoming harder and harder to hit. Whereas Masterpieces up through 2020 was a sketch per box. In 2023, it was 1 in 3, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, we've gone full circle, right? We've gone from sketch cards being very, very tough, one per case, etc., and then all over one per box, and now back to very rare.
Yep. Some of the newer sets, Black Diamond, AVX, super rare. It's 1 every 2 cases right now for that. Marvel Platinum is the super other end of the spectrum, where there are under 100 sketch cards.
Likely 1 in 6. Yeah, likely 1 in 6,000 packs. No one knows the actual print run, but that's probably pretty close.
So at least as of the last set, Premiere is the only one sort of holding ground for sketch collectors, where you're guaranteed sketches. In fact, 2 per box.
The only downside is that tin that I just broke is like $900.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I think it was 600 when it first came out, but yeah.
Artist gets $150, and the tin costs $900.
Let's hope, right? What are our parting thoughts, Jose?
Well, sorry.
There we go. Oh, there we go. You said you'd say it 3 times. He's true to his word.
Yeah.
There is
I mean, look, we really wanted to drive this home. There's so many silly arguments in the community about how to collect sketch cards and blanks and this and that. Just collect what you like. I mean, this is ridiculous. But what we have found, Matt and myself, and people who have been collecting sketch cards for a long time, we suggest you set goals for yourself, because if not, you're going to go down a rabbit hole and probably not collect it as much. So as you start, if you're early in your career or even midway through collecting sketch cards, we'd suggest figure out like, hey, this is my goal. Is it 1%? Is it one? Is it only a certain character? Again, whatever. Is it 3 per release? I don't know. Like, you got to define that for yourself. But I suggest that you do define something, because if not, you're not going to have as much fun. Like, you're going to be like, why did I buy that sketch card? It doesn't really fit into my collection. That goes for any collection, right? But it's no different for sketch cards.
The sketch cards can be really, really overwhelming coming into the hobby if you're new to it. And to your point, if you can drill down or hyper focus on a set and become an expert of that set, you're gonna really serve your collection really well. I've seen people do that recently, where they've come in, they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus on anime, and now they're like an expert on anime and anime sketches and have a really nice collection because they were able to focus in and drill down. If you try to try to collect one of each of these in every set, it can be really overwhelming unless you've been in the game a long time.
Yep. And then you become a super degenerate and get deep into it and start getting the original art.
Okay.
Sketch cards can be the gateway drug to OA.
It's the gateway drug.
Yeah, definitely sketch card is the gateway to OA. But like we said there, Justin, about being an expert in the set, I think it's fun. It's fun with sketch cards. You start to appreciate a lot of the nuances. Mm-hmm. Like, there's sets that I collect sketch cards on Heavenly, and I can tell you, like, hey, this artist did 100, but 90 were pencil and 10 were inked. And those 10 are really special, right? Like to somebody else they're not, but to me they are, because I know that the artist did something extra nice, or this is a sub sketch card set that this artist did. It's just, or this is a rare one for the set. The artist only did 10 and everybody else did 100. You start to appreciate the sketch cards more when you kind of, when you have a deep knowledge of a particular set.
Love that. The other thing I think is really cool is the access to the artists. Like we had Mr. Perna on here, and get to know him and his personality makes you appreciate the sketches more and enjoy them and want to collect his stuff more. And I think that's something that, whether it be YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or Discord or the mail, I don't know, whatever way you're communicating to these artists, that kind of connection does help kind of add another layer to the collecting.
Agree.
You meet an artist who's crazy, and you wonder how he does sketch cards when he can barely get out of bed and put his shoes on in the morning, right? They're so crazy.
We talked about the rarity getting tougher, and then for those on this panel that are watching that don't collect sketch cards, you're really comic original art guys and gals. We hope you have a bigger appreciation for these little pieces of art. And so when you see us out there, say hi.
It's an interesting question. I suspect it's growing just because so many new people still come in. But the interesting thing is, if you tie it back to the rarity we just talked about, even if the interest in the people who are looking for sketch cards is remaining level, the decrease in the availability is going to still cause demand to go up.
Yeah. I agree
Lou
with that.
has a question for us before we go.
Oh, please.
He says, before we go, can we hear each panel guest's favorite artists and characters and stuff?
Absolutely.
Matt?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go a little deeper. I'll say favorite set, Rittenhouse Bronze Age.
Mm-hmm.
Within there, my favorite artists. There's a few, but if I had to pick one, I would actually say Butch Mappa, specifically because he did such a good job of capturing the essence of some of those key Bronze Age comics that I read growing up. So he really, his art and his choice of, cards and scenes that he did really scratched that nostalgia itch for me.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
So my favorite artist, if we stick just in Marvel world, or what we're talking about, the Hildebrandt brothers, I think really are my favorites. That's stuff behind me, but just because they do Lord of the Rings as well, iconic of Star Wars, and the 94 set masterpieces was the one I remember as a child the most too. So favorite character, Thanos. I think that's kind of obvious from all this stuff I have here as well. So he's my favorite. And favorite card set, actually, I have to say the newest masterpieces that Dan Dos Santos did is my favorite. It's amazing, and just being part of actually it got me into this whole community that I'm in now, talking to you guys and Jose, and getting together and met all of you through kind of that set in a way. So it's special to me, and not just great art.
Justin?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite character of all time is Spider-Man. Dearly love him. Yeah. And I would say my favorite artist sketch that I have is my John Romita Sr. sketches. I have two of them. I'd love to get a Stan Lee of it. I'd love to have the 97 Stan Lee that may exist or may not exist, I guess, maybe. I don't know what the truth is there, but his name is on the box as one of the artists, but I've never seen the sketch. But it's honestly hard to pick a favorite because so many artists do such a great job, and their style shows up with different characters in various ways, and and I like one more than the other, one day to the next.
Yeah, it's hard for me to. I don't have favorite characters. A favorite character. For sketch card artists, it's so many. I'd be lying if I said I had only one. That's my favorite. I have. In my sets, in each set, I have focus artists, so I'll go really deep, on those artists per sets. But I do have favorite sketch card sets, and that's Masterpieces 07, just because of the variety and the quality of artists. It's Marvel Legends 01 as an underappreciated set, and because you can actually from a card collecting ability, like avenue, you're trying to get those insert sets. So ML1 is one for me, and then that original Marvel set, and I said it's just beautiful. So those are my favorite sets.
Mm-hmm.
Berna, what was your favorite to work on?
No, my favorite sets that I got, the first Jim Lee X-Men set that came out in 92?
92.
And then the first Marvel Masterpieces Joe Jesko set, just because I was blown away by, characters having that realistic look about them, and they were all painted. I mean, it was amazing. Artists.
I have an uncut Jim Lee card
Well,
sheet.
I was going to say, actually, that's the first Jim Lee set, but I think he was talking about the Uncanny X-Men. But
yeah, that's beautiful too. Yeah. The
that's
one with
comic
the
images.
original artwork, for the set. But yeah, no, that's beautiful too there, Stephen. Some artists that blow me away, Mark Warren blows me away. Andre Toma, his stuff is very, very editorial, but it's just beautiful. I mean, sometimes it's just simple, but it's amazing.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Kasra,
you like the MODOK set, and then
Yeah, the MODOK set hasn't come out yet. It's like being a Cubs fan up to 2016. It's just
well, we don't want to give you the big head,
Favorite artist, I'll just do that one, is Bill Sienkiewicz, and one of the great things about him being your favorite artist is that has at least 80 or 100 different personalities, styles, and capabilities. So it's like loving 80 or 100 different artists within one human being. And with favorite character, I'll just go ahead and say MODOK. Why not? I'll probably have to eat those words one day, but he's a Kirby creation. He's a throwaway character who's endured more than 50 years. Totally malleable. You can throw anything at him. He can be an idiot, a buffoon. He can be scary. Absolutely bizarre that Kirby could do something like that and nobody else could do that. That's why I like MODOK.
Love
It's a great pick.
Yeah, wow, that's a great description too.
On the new Bill did sketches for Marvel Platinum, and I was looking at some of he printed the previews of them. I think he used crayons in part of the sketches.
Yeah.
Great.
Bill used to, if you got Bill a 6-shot espresso, you get a really good sketch at a con, because he'd drink it and then use the leftovers for wash. He'd get a good gradient of color out of the espresso. It's amazing.
I believe it.
Oh wow!
He used butane lighter for effects. He uses anything. He's crazy.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
My lord.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Kasra, you want to close with I want to make sure, because I know a lot of people joined from the Marvel card community, and thanks to all of those, specifically for joining. But this wouldn't be complete without us inviting you again warmly to join us in 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Everybody on this panel is going to be there, and it's the mecca for Marvel cards. The regular cards, the sketch cards, the art, all of it. Come meet us, meet the artists, trade cards, buy cards, sell cards,
Open
whatever
boxes.
you're into. Yeah,
And you
all
don't
of
have to
that.
crap your pants.
Hang out.
You could just come to OAX instead of crapping your pants and get a sketch directly from Tony.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, and Justin and I are going to have the dance off.
Wow.
Can we? Do we have time to?
Give away.
Oh yeah,
Brother,
yeah.
I'm almost going to say no to that. Wow.
Yeah, and that's an Age of Apocalypse rogue too. That's gorgeous.
Yes, it is. 1992
Jeez.
Marvel Masterpieces. It's by Dan McIsaac.
Good job, Dan.
All right, I got to enter this one.
Hashtag.
Come on, Kasra. Me and Matt are getting in on this.
No matter.
Yeah, you should. It's going to be hashtag rogue.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Imagine that.
Clever. I'm in.
All right.
On the screen, in case you can't spell it, The code, dead code, really?
Oh,
Rouge?
why is there a U in there?
you
Is
get
it silent or something?
Rouge, I did it, so I'm not in it. Throw people off.
There you go. See, catch this one too. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, we got to. You did have to choose a character. You had Human Torch left over. Who else? No. Falcon was left over, and one other one.
A Black Widow, Falcon, Angel, Human Torch.
Should I bring up the slide, or is you got it? I'm so sorry. There you are.
I suspected this might happen. And I'll even throw in a free lick on the card
when
that you choose.
when you're at like a baseball game and
I think you did that to your cards.
they set off the fireworks, and then the smoke like gets on the field and you can't see anything anymore.
That's what
Your room was a little bit like that. It's brighter now. It's
he
brighter.
said.
He's just gonna make
He's in Miami.
it
You know what's up.
I'll get a light for you, Kasra. I'll get some kind of little.
I got a sketch card gift from Jose that I can't even show. I can't even show.
You cannot show. Do not show.
I haven't shown any. I'll just show the back of it.
Can I take my can I-
No, just
can I
show the
turn it off?
title of it. Just show the title of it. Maybe is that appropriate or that's inappropriate?
I'll show the title and the very. I'll show the reservoir tip.
All right, we got to make you pick. There we go.
Just a tip.
Oh,
Oh God.
all right, that's enough. That's enough.
Okay, so when we go off air, I want to see it.
$5 a viewing.
Oh,
Nice.
Are you
man.
sure that's not from Defective Comic Sketch?
Oh, it was
The
packed
thing is,
full.
you guys, you know the artist. I'm not going to mention their name. Got to protect the innocent, but amazing. Thank you again. Jose.
Collect what you love. I mean, that's what you're into, Castro. Okay.
There is no wrong way to collect sketch cards.
Yeah.
No.
If you keep looking for it, you want some Mo Dick, right?
It may be morally wrong, but
Oh, I knew it.
Okay, so I think
That's not the right pronunciation, by the way.
we're good then. We're up to whatever large number that is that I can't read because I got
65.
He
65.
said 65, yeah.
All right, go ahead. I'm going to do it, guys. You got 5 seconds.
Let's go.
2, 1. Burp.
I love the sound effect.
T-Bear Phil, I think you squeezed in. Sorry, Bergie Sue.
You almost.
I almost got it.
How did Steven almost win
I don't know.
with Rouge?
Phil. So
Good
Phil,
job, Phil. Phil was the last one to put it in.
what is going on?
Well, there's the logic.
I don't know.
I need to check the pseudo randomization function in StreamYard.
Last shall be first.
Phil, if you can contact me on Instagram at perna.t, and I can get your mailing address.
Awesome. Congrats.
I think we're done, right? Are we done?
We're done. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
I can't believe. Thank you all for staying on this long, Matt. You above all being in the situation that you're in. I hope you have a great trip. You staying there a few more days. I hope. Yeah, or
A
no?
week. Yep.
Oh, okay, so you just got there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you high?
Not yet.
He's there for the shows, not for the
Are
edibles.
you high? Hi, how are you?
What is it, about 2:30 in the morning now? Then.
Bring
It's
a towel.
2:30 in the
Don't
morning.
forget to
Right.
bring
Wow.
a towel.
Matt.
You look fresh for 2:30 in the morning.
Well, 2:30 in the morning, like first or second night that you're there, that pretty much you know what to do. Yeah, just go.
Yeah. Just head out. He'll be heading out after this.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
just follow that red light and get the $25 ready, and
I see the glow already on him.
you'll pass out. You'll pass out 30 seconds later.
Don't
So-
forget the apple and the carrot to feed the donkey.
And Justin, thank you for coming on.
It was a pleasure.
Starting in the car and ending up in the in the lair there. And Jose and Steven, I will not take back that I love you. Thanks again, guys. 2.5 hours. Great presentation.
Bigger
Great
heart. There you go.
presentation. And Tony, most of all, saved the best for last. Thanks for coming to OAX. You and I will talk. We'll talk about some of the stuff. We have some time here, but by the end of the month, I'll get you, the details that make it look like we know what we're doing, and then we can have a Zoom call and I can answer whatever you got.
Yeah, sounds good. Perfect.
Thanks, guys. That was so much fun. Honestly,
Thank you.
That was great. Thank you, guys.
Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone who watched.
Everyone who sat in, that's crazy. You all, I was going to say like the evil Kirk get a life thing. I loved it.
This is our life.
You know the
Thanks,
thing.
everyone.
Take
Have a
care.
marvelous day, everybody.
Thank you, guys.